Welcome back to Man Down Sports. Today, guys, I'm filling in for Mel. So he's a little busy right now, but he produced an incredible show for us tonight, and he really wanted to make sure that we put this content out. So shout out to Mel. He'll be back on Friday with the panel. So as you guys can see from the rundown, we're going to talk about the GOAT. Right. And before we do, I would really love it if you guys can smash the like button and go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. How's everybody doing tonight? Let's see who's in here. I want to give a couple of moments for everybody to just kind of join the stream and jump in the room. Oh boy, there's been so much going on in the sports world lately, especially WNBA. The finals are playing right now, and the Lynx, they're down in the series. A lot of people were expecting, a very competitive series, and they're definitely going to get that. So shout out to Ace of Rage. I see Young Disciple in here, Posh King, Greg Anderson. Shout out to all of you guys. Little A. Welcome in. Happy Wednesday. But yeah, WNBA has been popping lately. The Liberty, they are on pace to win the title. It's going to be a historical run if they can pull this off. Right now, they're up 2-1. In this past game, game 3, it was Sabrina Ionescu who really she came up big. She hit 2 big threes at the end of the fourth quarter, and that's what won the game. They were down. They lost. They were losing the entire game, and the Liberty just sort of stormed back for the win. And just really an incredible series. Game 1, the Liberty looked like they were going to choke the series away. They completely collapsed at the end of game 1, and the Lynx took that game. They beat them at home, and it was a pretty embarrassing loss because they had a lot of control throughout that entire game. And for them to just lose it the way they did and just collapse in the fourth quarter the way that they did, it was not good. And it looked like they really didn't have, like, they were just going to lose control of that series. They were playing away from the basket. There was some bad coaching decisions as well. Game 2 rolls around, and they were still doing that. They were still sort of playing the perimeter and giving the Lynx an opportunity to run away with the series. But they did completely win that game, and it was a great game. Game 2 was a good win for them because they needed their confidence back. So now headed into game 3, Breanna Stewart came up big. She dropped 30. She made it really possible for them to get out there and clinch game 3. So very exciting for her. And yeah, I mean, Collier is not quite herself defensively. She's not defending the perimeter as well as she should be. So I think that's kind of sort of holding them back. I get it. They have a lot of small guards on their team. They should be able to defend the perimeter, but a lot falls on Collier's back on offense and defense. So both sides of the floor, she has to come up big. I see that the room is getting a little bigger. We've got about 50 people in here. So guys, please go ahead and like and smash that like button for me. I should be seeing at least 50 likes. If we've got 50 people in the room, I need 50 likes. I do want to shout out the members. We love our members so much at Man Down. I want to shout you guys out. So let me go ahead and read off our members and really just give you guys a nice shout out. Demetrius Day, 3 days old. Welcome to Man Down. Welcome to being a member. Mikey Brass. We have Taco Master, my guy Taco. It's not that serious. Daniel, Zarai Lion, James Reed, Beast Mode Bones, 33 Shug, Cedric Franklin, the real Mr. Cropper. Thank you guys so much for being a member. I have some more to read off. Ida Tomlinson, E. King, Steve Calvert, the Dejoka. I always have trouble saying that. Everybody makes fun of me. Scott Mayweather, Unspoken Voices, 6'4" Slim, Keith Brazel. We also have, sorry, these letters are a little small for me, 7 Arnold, Ryan Walters, Jay Barrett, shout out to WW, Shay J, R Bean, Jeffrey Guyett, Shy Rider West Sider, A Harkins, Michael Tofia, Wizman Balling, and Malachi Israel. Thank you guys so much for being members of Man Down. We really appreciate it. And you guys are really a pivotal part of just helping to keep the channel going with all of your support. So thank you so much. All righty. Who else do we have? So we have 64 people in here. I need 64 likes. Come on, guys. Shout out to Mel. Like I said, guys, he's busy. I'm filling in for him tonight, but I'm really excited to just hang out with you guys and have some fun. So shout out to you, Khalil. I see you. We are also streaming this over on Sports T as well, but this is all about Man Down, and our first topic is the GOAT. And if you guys know me well, you know that comparisons are, for me, it's sort of the thief of joy in a way. And I think that a lot of times when new players, perennial players come along, we have a tendency, just in the history of the sport, especially in modern day basketball, to compare. And we like to compare, up and coming stars to some of the greatest players that we've ever seen play a game. And we see it a lot, in the WNBA right now. Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon. She has done so much in such a short period of time. We've been tracking her since college. She was incredible in NCAA play. And heading into the WNBA, there was a lot of hype surrounding her. And, she has been compared to multiple players, to Steph Curry in the NBA. Even some of the greatest players that we've ever seen, like Michael Jordan, Muhammad Ali, and even John Stockton, all different kinds of people. For whatever reason, we're comparing her. And even in the NBA, anytime somebody's coming up, who are they comparing players to? It's usually always Michael Jordan. Even recently, Anthony Edwards compared to Michael Jordan. So it seems like we're never going to get away from these comparisons that happen. And it's tough because you don't know exactly what someone's success is going to be. It's hard to predict it because they could be great in college, come into, professional league and bust, right? But we didn't see that happen with Caitlin. We knew that she was going to take some time to adjust to the WNBA. And then, coming out of the Olympic break, she was balling, right? So, recently we saw Chris Mullin. He was on It Is What It Is podcast with Cam and Mace. And oh my gosh, it was such an incredible interview. I mean, this man, he's got a lot of flavor. If people think that, Luka's cooking and he's got the flavor and he was born in the wrong skin color, I think Chris Mullin was too, because this guy, we saw him in a way that I've personally never seen him on, It Is What It Is. So they did a great job. They really were vibing with Chris Mullin, and he had a lot of really interesting things to say. And his approach to how he spoke about today's league versus, the past, and how he was comparing it to, his generation, I thought it was spot on personally. And I am going to play a couple sound bites for you guys. I'm really excited to share these with you because it's really good stuff. It's fair, it's balanced feedback and criticism that, it's just true. So I think one of the biggest things that he mentioned, because Mullin, if you know this, and if you know when the time period that he played, he was drafted with Michael Jordan. They graduated high school the same year. They were drafted together the same year. And he said, flat out that, Michael Jordan, he was that guy. So I'm going to play for you this soundbite because I want you guys to hear this and how he describes it. It feels almost like you were there, but I'm going to play it for you guys to hear. One second.
A couple personal questions real quick. I'm just basketball related. I'm talking about, who's the toughest person you ever played against throughout your career?
Well, the best player I ever played against was Michael Jordan. We came out of high school the same year, 81. Word was in college. Fortunately, I got to play with him in 84, 92 Olympics. So by far the best player. It came after, Magic and Larry. But for me, and this not being demeaning, every time I stepped on the court, I'm going back to my freshman year in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like I was at a disadvantage in some level, physically, athletically. So I learned to adapt, with skill, kind of IQ, and always using my teammates, whether it be screening, forcing to help. So someone asked me the other day who my three best teammates were. And I said Mitch and Tim and Mark Jackson. Because they all helped my game so much. I said, but damn, it was Scalabria. I was on NBA radio. And I said, but when I was playing 3-on-3, I was relying on my teammates. That's the way I was taught the game, and I had to physically. But Michael, by far, I mean, when people even tell me, like I spent a few months in New York in the summer, bumping on my buddies. And we were hanging out one night, and they were reminiscing. They go, dude, when you came back from the McDonald's game, you said, I just saw the best player I ever saw in my life. Now, I don't remember saying it, but you were talking about Michael Jordan. He said, then when you went to the Pan Am games, you came back, this dude is the best I've ever seen. So, that's kind of comes back, right? When, 30, 40 years later. So by far, Patrick came out that same year. We all got to play.
Them Olympic practices was like that. Was Mike killing y'all or killing Barkley and Magic? Because I remember, we only see documentaries. You actually was there.
Yeah.
And they said it was really tough for Magic to accept what Mike was doing.
He was a competitor. It wasn't so much he didn't want to accept it. He was competing.
Okay.
So like if, that's the one you don't surrender. Like that's not happening.
Right.
And then Burr was like, it's over. He's like Magic. It's over. But that started, to me, I saw it happen. The first time was 84.
Okay.
And that summer, before the Olympic games in LA, we played eight exhibition games versus NBA select teams. But these select teams was Magic, Bird, Isaiah, Ralph Sampson, all the best guys were coming out. And Michael every night was the best player on the floor. This is before he was drafted.
Right.
So
do you think Isaiah got snubbed off that Olympic team? And why, if so?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that point in time, he was by far, and then historically, top 3 point guard of all time, somewhere like that, right?
Yeah.
You heard it. I mean, in 1984, Michael Jordan, he was immediately the best player in the league. Before he even got there, he was considered the best. He was the best player on the floor every night. He was killing in exhibition games. And nobody, they didn't want to relinquish the throne to him. It wasn't like people just gave up. They didn't just surrender and say, lay down and say, hey, you can score on me. You can just do whatever you want here. It wasn't like that. They wanted to compete against Michael Jordan. They wanted to hold on to being the top dog in the league. Magic Johnson, he wasn't just ready to lay down and surrender his throne. He was the incumbent. And Michael Jordan, he had to work to prove himself in this league. And I think that it's really telling that he was immediately the best player, whereas other players, they had to work toward that. LeBron James, he didn't come in being the best player immediately. Caitlin Clark, she struggled. First half of the season, she struggled mightily. She was not just immediately the best player. That's not Caitlin Clark's story. Her story is that legends of the WNBA and longtime analysts of the WNBA, they called cap on the media hype that she was receiving, for being the greatest female basketball player, or the GOAT even, or the chosen one for the WNBA. They pushed back on it because of the talent that has always existed in the league. That's not her story, yet she's being compared to Michael Jordan. And I think that it is really just, it's telling that in the summer before the draft, he was the best player in the league. In the Junior Olympics, best player. Nobody could do anything with Michael Jordan. This is from his peers. Usually that's how it is. Your peers anoint you as the greatest player. They let everybody know, hey, this is the guy. So yeah, that's not Caitlin Clark's story. And I think that she is going to have a really great story, but it's just not Michael Jordan's story. We have to stop constantly comparing these players because they have their own journey, their own road to greatness, their own story of adversity that they had to face and climb through, different battles that they had to go through in order to start winning. Not everybody's story is the same. Not everybody's story can be Michael Jordan's. That's why he's the GOAT. Michael Jordan is the GOAT because he was the best player always. He always had the mentality of coming in and being that best player as well. It's not really close. People don't have this story of greatness the way that they keep trying to compare. And I have to say again, comparisons, they can be the thief of joy. It almost causes you not to enjoy a particular player or a particular era because of the constant comparisons. And it's unfortunate because Caitlin, she's, like I said, she's going to have her own journey, her own story of adversity that she faced. And when she was going to break through, what did it take Michael Jordan? 7 years to start winning? I mean, it's not, you can't just duplicate the success of somebody else. Just like LeBron can't pass down his athletic success to Bronny, Michael Jordan's story is not just replicated because history repeats itself in sports. That's not what happens, right? So everybody's got to go through their own journey, their own, kind of story, right? And these narratives they get created by the media and it gets completely out of control. But like I said, in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark, she's been sort of anointed as the chosen one. They pushed back on it. These analysts that have been there analyzing this game, they've pushed back on this idea that she's the best that we've ever seen because talent has existed in the league. They knew that she was going to struggle mightily in the beginning as a pro and that she wouldn't mirror the same success that she had in college, not right away at least, due to the physicality and the fact that there are just so many women in the league that can ball. What Diana Taurasi said, that she won't average 30. She'll need to adjust to this grown woman league, and everyone jumped on her and attacked her. Same thing with Cheryl Swoops. She's a legend in the game. She made number 22 popular. She did. She was the first woman to have a Nike deal that was, a signature shoe. And she said that Caitlin Clark is not the best player that she's ever seen. She called cap. And yeah, she misspoke when she discussed Caitlin Clark's record-breaking college years, but she's admitted that. And look, all in all, Caitlin Clark, she's popular, and she might be the most popular female athlete in basketball that's trending right now. But she's not the best we've ever seen. She's not even currently the best in the league. If you guys saw the first team all WNBA, Caitlin Clark beat out every point guard for that role. She made the first team. And I'm not so mad at that, but I do think that I would have went with Sabrina. I think that was a snub. She's the real Steph Curry. She's the person that can hit clutch threes down the stretch in the fourth quarter. We just saw that tonight. And I'd even argue that potentially Leonie Fibich is Rookie of the Year. But that's just why the MJ comparisons don't apply. Michael Jordan, he was the most marketable player in the NBA because he was the best player. Everything is opposite or backwards for Caitlin Clark. Michael Jordan, he did a bunch of things to be considered the best player in the league. Yeah, he won Rookie of the Year and he got all of the accolades, right? But he won the dunk contest. He had to participate in that. Whereas players, they remove those things so that they don't look bad. He leaned into them. He wanted to compete. He never ducked the fade. Caitlin Clark, she ducked the fade for the 3-point contest. She made an excuse that she never shot off a rack before. Where there's a ball, you need to be able to pick it up and shoot that three. That's what you're known for. How dare you not compete in the 3-point competition? And the media is sitting here comparing her to Michael Jordan. I'm not mad at Caitlin Clark. I think she's a great player. Like I said, I think she's going to have her own journey and her own story that's going to be just as incredible as, many other players. I think they did a documentary on her recently, her and 2 other players. She is going to have her own story, but they have to remove things out of her purview. She has to duck certain competition just so that she can be considered the greatest. In order for her to keep that title of, she's the best player in the league right now, she has to not compete in the 3-point competition just in case, okay, hey, she's not shooting well tonight. They don't want her to be embarrassed. What if Michael Jordan didn't win the dunk competition? What if he was out there missing several dunks? What if that happened? I mean, he did it twice. You can't just duck these fades and be compared to Jordan and then, you're the GOAT. That's not how it works. You actually have to do those things. You have to compete at every level. And he has always done that. Michael Jordan came in as a competitor. He came in just killing in everything that he did. And I know he did the 3-point contest and he didn't do that well, but at least he competed. Okay? He never ducked the fade. His heart never pumped Kool-Aid. So, I think that a lot of people, they want to try to relate to Caitlin Clark. They want to compare her to some of the greatest athletes that ever lived. I mean, Stephen A., he's compared Caitlin Clark to not just Michael Jordan, but he even said how they needed to change the rules for Michael Jordan based on the physicality. And that's what they need to do for Caitlin Clark as well. And I thought that was a huge miss on Stephen A.'s part because Michael Jordan was Michael Jordan before the rule changes. And I don't feel that they changed all these rules for him. They just decided that, hey, we were going to play basketball and not rugby or football. They decided that, hey, when a guy's in midair, we're not just going to pull him down to the floor and injure him. So Michael Jordan was the best, just no matter where he was, what he did, right out of the gate. He earned that. He won in college. Yeah, it took him some time to win in the pros, but Michael Jordan was that guy, and that was Chris Mullin's point. Chris Mullin, he did go on to even talk about load management, and he talked about just the difference between today and past generations and how they treated it. It was a badge of honor for them to get out there on the floor. So I'm going to play that soundbite for you.
No.
Let me ask you a question real quick. Throughout your career, how many seasons, we got to answer it either way. Did you play 82 games or didn't play 82 games?
Yeah. So I played 16 years. I'd say at least half. I played all 82.
So what do you think about these punk ass niggas who don't want to play 82? Always making excuses. Like, he's always soft.
Is that a leading question? You're leading me down the road?
I can't play 82. Like, it's a stat to play 82 games. And it's ridiculous because we're older. We're old enough to see. We was younger when you was playing, but we still was playing. Mace was playing organized basketball since we were 7, 8 years old. So when we sit here and see each other, I don't know if I could play a back-to-back game. It's messed up in my back and this, that, and the third. And I agree with you that you need to be healthy for the playoffs. But my thing is this. It's all this technology. It's all this advanced medicine. It's all these ways to preserve your body to play longer. And y'all didn't even have that back then. What do you think about that? And I know you have to be politically correct. No. But do you?
I was already told no filter.
Yeah. What do you think about this?
First of all, I was reacting to Stat Baby's statement.
Okay.
That, he's injured or whatever. So if a guy's injured, you can't play, right?
Right.
But I do think load management is overused. You know what I mean? Again, when you're injured, you sit. If you're chipped up, you play.
Right.
And you don't want to do something to your body where you can't play. But if you're talking about skipping games because you want to play 20 years, that's supposed to be winning games.
Right.
But I do think, I go back to, you talk about like Nolan Ryan, who's an old pitcher, right? And now they have the pitch count. That's kind of where load management started in baseball, right? With all the analytics and all those different things that have taken over sports. But he always said, if you don't train your body to play 82,
right,
that's how you do get hurt.
Right.
So why not train like you're going to? And if you have to miss some games, miss them. But mapping them out ahead of time, I don't think is right.
That's a great assessment. If you train for 82, you're gonna be able to play 82.
And then if you're going to sprain your ankle, you're going to miss some games.
Yeah.
The other thing too, which now these guys, and I just think there's a part of team building which is getting skipped over. There's something about
chemistry,
but the chemistry of going through practices,
camaraderie.
And I think they miss that. I do. Now I'm not there, and I'm when you grow up with it, you don't miss it because you never had it.
Yeah.
But I do see, I cover the Warriors for NBC Sports Bay Area, and I'm game 60, and guys say I'm trying to find my rhythm. Like, what? Maybe if you practice, you'd have some rhythm. Or I don't know my role is. Like, dude, you're a pro.
Right.
We know if you can shoot, you're a shooter. Like,
they brought you in the office and told.
Again, Chris Mullin, he does such a great job, I think, of not completely insulting today's era versus, it's hard because there's a lot of comments that are made, a lot of ignorant comments that are made about past, great periods of basketball. And I think it's tough for them not to come out and really kind of step on them. But he's an analyst, for the Warriors. He's covering the Warriors, right? So I think he does want to be careful, but he also wants to keep it real. Like, really, how can you get into rhythm? You're in game 60. Maybe if you practice, you'd be in rhythm. Maybe if you train your body for 82 games, and I say this all the time, I think that it causes more injury to load manage. When you train your body for 82 games, there's no way that you're not going to get used to that. The body does what it's trained to do. You train yourself to wake up every morning. If you wake up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, that's going to get easier as you do it, right? As you get those reps in. So repetition is what's going to drive a habit. I guess it probably takes, what do they say? It takes 21 days to build a habit. Like, practice makes perfect. So these players today, they're not conditioning themselves. They're not practicing. They're not practicing with their teams. They're not building camaraderie. That's not good. That's why they don't click. That's why they don't gel, because they don't show up to do their job and practice before games. I mean, I think that he made a great point about load management, and he said, I played for 16 years. And I think that number of 16 years is really telling, right? So he came into the league with Jordan, and they played a similar amount of seasons. Jordan played 15 seasons. Mullin played 16 seasons. Guys back then, they put it all out on the floor. Would you want to load manage and play 40 to 55 games or so just so that you can extend your lifespan in the NBA to 20, 22 seasons? Or do you want to give the game everything that you have, the best that you have, so that your fans and your team, they get the best out of you? Or is it just all about making money? Where's the integrity in the sport? It's dying more and more each year. Each year, we're seeing less and less integrity in the game and in the sport. Load management, taking time off. How can we compare people to these great players when they're not putting in the work? They're just not. They're not putting in the work. And I think that, the comparisons, again, I'm going to say it again, it's the thief of joy. Real quick, guys, we are going to just play our little underdog ad. So let me get that going for you guys. But, Chris Mullin is right. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. He's that guy from the very start. And we have to stop comparing people like Anthony Edwards and Caitlin Clark. They don't have that story. Nothing that they have done or accomplished even compares to Michael Jordan.
Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy sports. I want to tell you about the easiest way to get in on some NBA action with Underdog Fantasy and their pick'em game. Just find your favorite player, or any player for that matter, pick higher or lower on that player's stats, and you can win up to 20 times your money in one night. Pick between 2 or 5 players to fill your pick'em entry. Get every pick right, and you can net yourself some serious cash. Use the promo code Man Down Sports and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Plus, now that it's football season, you can follow Man Down Sports as we reveal our favorite picks from week to week. Like I said before, pick your favorite player, pick higher or lower, choose your dollar amount, and win some money. It's just that easy. Make picks, win money. We also want to thank Underdog Fantasy for partnering with us, and we want to thank you for helping the channel out by using Man Down Sports on Underdog Fantasy.
So yeah, guys, I thought that interview with Chris Mullin, I thought it was really amazing. Mason Cam, they did a great job, and I know a lot of people sometimes they don't take them seriously in the sports podcast world, but I do think they're doing a great job. I think they're showing up really well on camera, and they asked some tough questions. Cam made it a point to, ask Chris some tough questions, and I thought that they were good questions. He asked him about Isaiah Thomas. With the way that he even asked about load management was straight to the point. Yeah, it was a leading question, but Chris enjoyed that, I think. And, just overall, really solid interview. I do want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you think about Michael Jordan being compared to Caitlin Clark and other players. And just, I want to have some dialogue around this. So what do you guys think? Let me go ahead and put the phone number up, and you guys can call in when you're ready. But yeah, I mean, I'll also read some comments while I'm waiting for some phone calls. Let's see. Shout out to Ticket. I see you in here. I'll also read the super chats. Ticket, thanks for joining us tonight. So from It's Not That Serious, you're currently my favorite channel that I'm subscribed to. I love most of your takes. Please don't change. You're so talented and real that folks will reach out to you to give you an offer you can't refuse. That's so funny. One moment. Caller from Ohio. Talk to me nice.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing so well. Who is this? What's your name?
This is John.
Hi, John. Nice to hear from you. So what do you think about the Mason Cam interview with Chris Mullin?
I mean, I've always thought Michael Jordan was the GOAT. And like you said, I watch you guys on Friday too a lot. And first of all, I want to say I like a lot of your takes. I mean, I'm a big fan. And I know it's all in fun, but you give them a run for their money, and I don't think sometimes they expect a female to be able to come off as sharp as you do. So I want to just give you your props right off. But I think Jordan's the GOAT. But I remember you were talking with one of the guys on your panel about Wilt too. And what I did was I went in, I've heard a lot about Wilt, seen a little bit. So let me go on YouTube and pull up some of Wilt. And a lot of the stuff that people try to downplay Wilt about, I don't think they've actually watched the film on him, because I watched a lot of it today. And one of the things I discovered from his colleagues, like they had Oscar, they had like Jerry West, people just giving him all this praise, not like what you hear some other people say. But they said 60% of his shots were fadeaways.
Wilt Chamberlain?
Yes.
That's
60% of the shots that he took. Go on YouTube. It's a couple of them.
I believe you. I believe you. I think Wilt Chamberlain was excellent.
Yeah, and I'm saying I'm trying to think of, because I went to a couple of them. I didn't have a whole bunch of time, but I think I spent like 20 minutes on it. And then I used to hear he was playing against all the guys with 5'9", and I'm thinking, was they? And then I looked at, I mean, a lot of people actually don't do their homework on Wilt. I think Jordan's the GOAT, but I think I think you got to put Wilk in there. When they talk about your top five, Wilk's got to be in there next to Jordan. And I didn't like I said because I watched your show Friday, and I like your take on it. What you were saying, about how many teams was in the league and how tough it was versus now, because it is more teams and it's more watered down. But like I said, 60%. If you watch it at 60%, and this, I think this was Jerry West or one of these. This is not just like, like somebody doing a podcast or something. They just analyze. This was from people who actually played with him, and how he was a natural athlete. And I said, and this is I want to throw this in real quick. They said the couple of days after Bird had won the NBA championship, Wilk was 43. This is on there too. They said him and 4 college players played Magic, and they didn't say who the players were, but they said it was a combined 28. Later on, like titles or something. Whoever, it was a league group, and one game, it was a game that they played, and I guess Magic said the game was over, blah, blah, blah. So they said, let's play again. They said Wilk blocked every shot. It was for every shot and didn't let him score a basket. So look that up. So I just want to say that about the Wilk thing, but with the Jordan thing, not unless it's somebody new I'm explaining it to, I think we should talk about maybe top 5 or who's number 2, because it's to talk about is Jordan the GOAT. Some people, as people you still got to explain it to, because everybody hadn't seen or whatever. Now, I had the privilege of seeing Jordan 3 times. I've seen him once in an exhibition, and then I've seen him twice with Rodman and Pippen that year that they got together. And I got to watch him, because I go to a lot of games, got to watch him warm up. And this warm up, now this was later, because this is with Rodman and Pippen there. Not like the high flying before I've ever seen it. But all he did was post moves. He didn't miss a shot. I watched him the whole time, got there. He didn't miss a shot like in his warm up. He'd do it from one side to the other. He'd go right side, left side, and then he'd go to the other side of the rim, right side, left side. He did not miss a shot once during his warm up. And I want to say this right quick, because I see you got a topic, and I'm going to have to go to bed pretty soon. Like I said, I really enjoy you. But on the Bronny thing, and I remember you said this because I watched this, how we all kind of feel for him, because, when I watch him, I just don't feel like this is his dream. I feel like it's something, it's kind of like something, well, if I can do it, let me do it, because it's something that's elite, but it's not something that, it's not something. And another call said this too. He was trying to make a point for him, but it kind of went against it, because he was talking about that guy who came in and played that game that scored more. And he said, well, Bronny ain't hungry. Well, that's if you're not hungry, that ain't your thing. If you're not hungry for something, how is that your thing? Because he compared, the game I'm talking about, where the other guy who don't have a contract came in and scored I guess 11 points or whatever. And it was a conversation. It was last Friday where the guy was a DC Slim but and during the conversation he was saying the other guy was more hungry than him, and that just shows that that's not your dream. And
yeah, that was the call with Ticket. Ticket was talking to DC Slim.
Yeah. And if you're not hungry, then that's not your dream. And I remember a story, and this is before my time, and you don't look that old, so I'm sure you probably don't know about this. But I know you've heard of Joe Frazier, or Joe Frazier's son, Marcus Frazier, was a boxer. He got all the way to the championship fight. And after that fight, he said that wasn't his dream. And he got all the way to the championship. And he said, Dad, I never really wanted to be a boxer. But he followed what his dad wanted to do. Look that up. And this is not something, this is coming out of his mouth. He did interview. He said he never wanted to be a boxer. Now he got all the way to he was legitimate, boxer, winning all these fights. Like I said, it was a little before my time, but I was told about that story. And I forgot who he faced. He lost in the finals. I think it was by decision, whatever. But never wanted to be that. But he was doing it because his dad wanted to do it. And I feel for Bronny because I've seen Bronny when he was a little kid at a Pistons. It was Heat game because I went to see the Big Three the first year they got together because I said, well, they might break them up, if they don't do good. So I went to, it was in Detroit. And so it would have been the first year. So I don't know how Bronny, I guess he'd been like 8 or something. And him and Bryce, they after the game, because of my job, I can get, I'm down there on the floor. They were running around the court because I was there well after the game was over. And they're just running around the court or whatever. So when I see him out there struggling, I feel for him,
I think we all feel for Bronny, but I think when we talk about the GOAT and we talk about guys like Wilt Chamberlain and we kind of disrespect these players from the past. We say that nobody had skill except Michael Jordan, or Wilt Chamberlain had nobody to compete against. I mean, Wilt Chamberlain competed against, he had tough competition. And yeah, there might have only been 8 teams, but we have to remember that, back then it was all about the big man. So there was a huge investment in teams for big men. So when people say all he had to compete against was Bill Russell, that's just not true. Every team, their investment was in the center. The center was the best player on that team typically. They had back then they had Willis Reed. It wasn't just like they had no competition. They had Walt Bellamy. They had guys like Nate Thurman. They had who was that guy? Zelmo. They had guys, Bob McAdoo, like there was competition, Dave Cowens. These were people that were the comps for Wilt Chamberlain. And it's okay that we didn't watch these people. It's okay that we might not know, but we can't speak on things that we don't know, right? We can't say there was no competition, but we didn't watch it. And I think that, when we see these players like, a Chris Mullin get on it is what it is and chop it up with, the millennials and, people that, they might not know, but to share their story and to share their struggle and what they fought for and just how much they had to work in order for today's players to have what they have today, whether it's the contracts, whether it's endorsements, all of these things have taken us to and helped move us forward. So I think it's really important to not only to respect these guys, but to research them, look them up, know your history. If you are a professional in this sport, you need to be able to know your forefathers of the game. So thank you so much for calling, John. I am going to move on to the next topic. I really appreciate you watching and supporting. So thank you so much. And I hope you have a wonderful night. Okay.
You too. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
All righty. So we are, we do have another caller. Sorry about that. But caller from Washington, talk to me nice. Oh, I'm so sorry. You're not connected. There we go.
Oh, yes. I was just saying,
what's your name?
Everybody. This Am I Crazy? I came and talked to you. I called on here and talked to y'all a few times.
Hi, Am I Crazy? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I really came for the smoke with y'all though, because y'all posted me up there on that last show.
Smoke? What did I do? Tell me. Tell me what I did.
Not you. I'm saying.
You're looking for Mel? Are you looking for Mel and he's on the run from you tonight?
No. Just listen for a hot second.
Okay.
Y'all supposed to be out there while y'all cook me or something. Well, he said he cooked me or whatever. But that was my 6th time on there. But y'all posted me once, so he didn't want to post the other 5 times I cooked him. But it's cool though. I'm calling to talk to you about the situation.
Can I tell you something though about that? I do think I think it's an honor to get cooked by Mel. It's okay.
I know it's cool. I'm making videos coming back at y'all head. It's all good.
Okay.
I'm still gonna say what's up.
All right, talk to me nice. What's going on? What do you think about the GOAT being talked about by Chris Mullin and just the story that he shared?
See, Chris Mullin, old school. He know what's up. See, that was the whole thing I have wrong with the post because it said LeBron fan. See, I'm actually a Michael Jordan fan.
Okay.
See, the last person he was talking about Wilt, but see, the GOAT have to have what? 0 flaws in their game.
Okay.
So the GOAT is never going to be a center unless he got some handles or something. Unless he can handle the ball, bring the ball up. He can't have any holes in his game. So the whole Wilt thing, when he's talking about he was block everything, that's probably when they ain't had goaltending. And who knows?
I mean, there's a lot of people that consider Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to be the GOAT. You know that, right?
But can Kareem Abdul-Jabbar bring the ball up the court?
Did you see him play Dr. J one-on-one?
Can he bring the ball up the court?
I'm asking you. Did you see him?
Talented.
I'm asking you. So you don't think that he can do that, right? But I do. It's not that guys can't bring the ball up the court. It's not that they can't handle the ball. It's that they didn't, because they played a 5-man game where everybody did their job. There's no reason for Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to be bringing the ball up the court when he's getting it in the paint. You don't have
Can he shoot the three?
You know, you're right. So I'm not going to say he can't shoot the three. He didn't shoot the three. He shot 18 of them in his entire career. Can I ask you a question? Why would you shoot the three if you have an unguardable move? Dr. J had an unguardable move. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had an unguardable move. So you're saying, can he shoot the three? But I think that's a good question. But we don't know. We don't know that he can't. That's the thing. You're not saying he can't shoot the three because you never saw him, and we don't really know. We don't know that he can't shoot threes. We know that he didn't shoot them, and it's because he didn't have to. Why shoot a three when you're the highest scorer and you have an unguardable move, a sky hook that nobody can duplicate and nobody can guard?
I get what you're saying. I'm saying, as far as talent, the GOAT have to have no flaws as far as talent-wise is concerned. I seen Manute Bol, who was 7'5", 7'7". He had a game in the NBA. I seen him hit 7 threes. That was what, back in the 90s or something? Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, the GOAT have to have no flaws. That's why MJ is the GOAT. When MJ was the GOAT before he got in the NBA.
Exactly. That's exactly what Chris Mullin was saying, that he was the GOAT before he even got there. He was the best prior to entering the league. So I'm extremely it's just when you see people saying things like this 30, 40 years later, I mean, how can we deny that?
Because they didn't see Jordan play. It's like one of those things where you had to be there. Jordan is one of those, you had to be there to like witness it. Like if they actually saw Jordan play and didn't watch a highlight, they would actually see that there's no way that people that they think like LeBron and even Kobe could be Jordan. And it's just too different. You see, I'm 40-some years old, so I seen Jordan play. I saw Kobe play. I seen LeBron play. Still watching LeBron play. Think LeBron my age, maybe. Who knows? Like, who really knows his age? I don't know. We thought he was 30 when he came in the league. Him and Greg Oden. But anyway, when you talk about the whole Caitlin Clark thing,
to you? Is that what happened?
What?
He made you rabbit stew?
He made me what?
Rabbit stew?
Rabbit stew?
Yeah. Are you looking at the screen?
I don't know what you're talking about. What's screen? What's screen? I don't know what you're talking about, man. I come with my facts, man. Y'all know, every time y'all try to come at me, I always chop y'all down. You know what I'm saying? I be seeing y'all the little Mortal Kombat moves with a little bit of the Street Fighter. I'm getting y'all all that.
You think so? Come on, that was funny.
Every time. I would challenge any of y'all to debate in basketball. Well, you probably can beat me with the girls' basketball.
Well, we're just vibing. You know, we're just vibing. Everybody in the comments is saying you got cooked, like kind of like Chucky.
I got what?
You got cooked. That's what I heard.
No, how I get cooked? Because it doesn't make sense. the conversation was he was trying to say I was a LeBron fan because he was trying to explain to me how Dwayne Wade was better than LeBron. It just doesn't make sense. So
why not?
It doesn't make sense.
Why? Why doesn't it make sense?
It doesn't make sense in his terms because he said, "Oh well, I have LeBron higher on my list than D Wade, but I feel like D Wade's a better player." Okay, I've done that a couple of times.
Okay,
but you got LeBron James like 15 to 18 players ahead of D Wade, then your conversation can't make sense now.
So here's the thing: when someone can do more on the floor, why wouldn't they be considered a better player? Just because someone, so like LeBron has played longer, right? That's I think Mel's giving him credit for that, right? For playing longer and for winning more. So he won more. He's accomplished more. He has more MVPs.
Who won more?
So LeBron has 4 titles and D Wade
has
3.
I was saying that. I was saying LeBron was a better player than D Wade. He was trying to tell me D Wade was better than LeBron.
Well, I agree.
It doesn't make sense.
I agree. I think I was one of the first people to say that, and it's because of how they played.
If he says more skilled, maybe.
Yeah, but that's part of what makes him a better player. So we're talking about him being a better player, not having a greater resume. So there's resume, right? And then there's skill in what you're able to do. And so Dwayne Wade could shoot better than LeBron, and he played better. He was a dog. I don't consider LeBron
a mid range.
I mean,
not
he shot everything better than LeBron. He knocked down threes when he needed to knock them down. He could knock them down in the clutch, in the finals.
I like D Wade. Trust me. I don't want to diss D Wade's game. He's just not better than LeBron.
I don't think it's a diss to say that he's not better than LeBron. And I think it's okay to have, to be saying, hey, LeBron's a better player. We don't agree, and that's okay.
Okay. Well, how do I justify putting LeBron James like 10th on his list? And then he got D Wade
just
30th
so you know,
on his list. It doesn't make any sense.
If
you believe that D Wade's better than LeBron.
I'm less generous than Mel. So I think Mel might have LeBron either ranked at 10 or right outside. I barely have LeBron in top 15.
That's because y'all got players y'all never even seen who ever in y'all life.
That's just because it's because I think players like Dwayne Wade are better. I think players like Kevin Garnett are better. So I have them ranked higher.
Kevin Garnett, cool.
I have Tim Duncan ranked higher. I have Hakeem Olajuwon. I watched Hakeem. I watched Michael Jordan. So I watched 90s basketball. And yes, I have past players like Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Yes, I do have some players that I've never actually seen. I've watched some of the footage that was available, but I do have them ranked higher. What they had to go through, who they had to play through, the conditions they had to play under, what they were able to accomplish just from a player activist standpoint that translated to the floor. We're going to talk about Oscar Robertson later in the show, but he's done a lot that people don't think about, that people don't realize. So I am going to move on to the next topic and talk about Caitlin Clark. We're going to dig into more of these comparisons, and we're going to talk about, we're going to get into it. We're going to get into some more stuff. So you're going to hear more about players that you've never seen play the game. And it's because it's necessary. We have to shine a light on that in order to let people know that, greatness existed before what you're seeing today. Just because you didn't witness something, it doesn't mean that it didn't exist.
Right. Well, enjoy the rest of the show. Just let them know anytime they want to get cooked, I'll be back, man.
All right. Am I crazy? Thank you so much. I mean, right now it feels like a little Chucky-like to me in the cookery, but I appreciate you.
You can have your jokes. Like I said, I'm making some video of y'all right now. and y'all gonna come looking for me. Y'all gonna be like, well, yeah, I'm gonna have jokes all week
Well, listen, I
So
really
just hit the link.
appreciate your call, and I'm okay with you thinking that LeBron is better than D Wade. You're good in my hood, be nice, okay? Be nice.
Y'all have a good one, man.
All
And
righty.
I'll be
Thank you
there
so much
Friday
for calling in. Yes, join us on Friday. Can't wait to see you in the room, okay?
talking trash. What?
All righty. Good night. All right, guys. So we are gonna move on to the next topic. Like I said, there's a lot to unpack here. Okay. Everyone they have these comparisons. We want to try to compare Caitlin Clark to Michael Jordan. Stephen A. Smith has compared not only Jordan, but even Muhammad Ali and players like, just all these great players get compared to Caitlin Clark. And not only do they get compared to her, but we also have to, instead of talking about the WNBA finals, or instead of talking about Asia Wilson being the unanimous MVP, we have to be congratulating Caitlin Clark at every turn. And if you don't, you're going to be attacked by the media, or, players in the league are going to be called jealous, and they're going to be attacked constantly. Elle Duncan, she's an analyst on ESPN. She's done some guest appearances on First Take, and, it's gotten pretty spicy. She's delivered some super hot takes about Caitlin Clark, but she has been one of the most balanced analysts, I think, on ESPN, really just kind of trying to sort of just level the playing field. And she really takes a good hard look at what's actually happening, not just the false narratives that ESPN wants to perpetuate, that Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp want to perpetuate. She's done a really, really great job of just really dissecting the environment in the WNBA, what's happening currently with Caitlin Clark and the other players in the league. And she had some interesting things to say on Bronny Jones's podcast. So I do want to play some of those sound bites for you guys. So yeah, let's hear the first one. She says some really interesting things. One moment.
No. Let me ask you a question.
More plentiful. I am a firm believer, though, Bo, that like the bad faith characters that were sort of like, I'm only here for Caitlin, I'm only here. So much of that nasty rhetoric has toned down since the Fever got bounced from the postseason. And I don't think it's because necessarily people aren't watching. Like, we're still setting huge ratings increases, record ratings, despite it not being any Fever games involved. Obviously, her games saw exponentially more growth and more viewership, but we're still over-indexing anything that we had done in previous years. So I've seen a lot of that calm down, and it's kind of become what it could be, which is, the discourse being around basketball and reminding people about the great legacy of the Lynx or some of these amazing stories. But yeah, it is a bit of a be careful what you wish for, right? Like, you want for the W to sort of be a part of the hot take economy, because that means that people are talking about it. There's bad takes in every sport, right? And so, like, when you're talking about equality, I suppose that's what it means, right? Like, if you want for the platform to grow. But to me, the frustrating part has been, instead of hot takes that are like, Breanna Stewart's never going to win another championship, or, Nafisa Collier's better than Maya Moore. Like, instead of those kinds of hot takes, the hot takes solely and explicitly surround all of these Black women versus Caitlin Clark. And like, that's what's frustrating to me, is that the people that have the platforms think that they're doing the W a service simply by just talking about it, as opposed to understanding that if you don't have the bandwidth to talk about it, please stop globbing onto that one narrative, which is they need to show her more adoration, adulation, and love. And I understand that I'm coming from a place of being a Black woman who has my whole life had other people try to validate any successes that I've had. And like, that is probably why it pisses me off more than anything, because I understand that Black women are always overlooked, and no matter what they end up doing, they had to work twice as hard for half as less. And then to have someone come in who has been amazing for the game, for the sport, of her own volition, worked really hard in Caitlin Clark, but to have this group of people come in and immediately invalidate the contributions of all of these women before her simply because they don't know, That's what's been frustrating, you know? So yes, people are going to talk about it more, but oh my God, please just educate yourself so that you can have bad takes that involve basketball and not bad takes that send racism and misogyny into the timelines of these women. It's unfair.
So the timeline part.
Elle Duncan, when I tell you she completely cooked on this podcast appearance, you could tell that what she's sharing is everything that she can't really talk about on ESPN. When I tell you Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp, they are strong arming the analysts on that network to, feed into certain narratives, perpetuate them. I mean, we call Stephen A. snitch. He is something else. And every year, I would say year over year, he gets worse. If there's a narrative that he needs to push, if that's going to put more money in his pocket, if that's going to line the pockets of his bosses, so he likes to say, then that's what he's going to do. Not only does he just talk about what's trending, he is in the forefront of pushing narratives forward. He is essentially controlling the media, even myself. I essentially have to talk about whatever it is that's trending, whatever Stephen A. and the ESPN and Fox and these analysts that are essentially, they're pretty much responsible for hyping up these players. And we're only going to hear about the players that they're going to talk about, and we might not ever hear about anybody else. They're only talking about Caitlin Clark. They're not, they lied. Stephen A., Shannon, they said, Caitlin Clark is bringing more viewers and she's essentially allowing for a spotlight to be placed on the other really great women that are playing the sport. But that's not what's actually happening. They're yelling and screaming that these women in the WNBA don't appreciate her, that we need to be bowing down and kissing her feet every day that we see her. And if we don't, it's just this horrible, this horrible wave of online bullying and constant, hate speech. It's just ridiculous. We can't even enjoy the sport. Something that Elle said that I thought was really that was the most interesting thing was that it's been so much better since Caitlin Clark and the Fever have been knocked out of the playoffs, because it's almost like these horrible racist fans, they're gone. They're not gone. If you follow Facebook and you're a part of any WNBA basketball groups, you're going to see them there. You're going to see them saying things. They're angry that she swept. She was swept. She didn't even win a game. She got swept and they're upset. But at least we don't have them tuning in and all of the hate that they've been spewing all year. They're not doing that towards the Lynx and the Liberty. They went back to whatever sport they actually watch, because we know most of them don't even watch basketball. So I thought that was really interesting. But what's crazy to me is the way that they've said that Caitlin is just facing all of this. What her fans are saying is that she's facing racism, that she's being discriminated against, that she's responsible for, paving the way for every other WNBA athlete to be recognized and seen. She's the reason why the WNBA is growing, and she's definitely part of it. Hands down, she's part of it. Nobody can deny that. Caitlin Clark has accomplished a lot, and she's done great things in the women's sport. So no one's denying that. It's just that she's not the only person responsible for the growth in the league. In fact, the WNBA has been growing over the past 3 years, and they still, right now, Caitlin Clark is swept, Fever are out of the playoffs, and we're watching the finals, and they are having record-breaking numbers. They're competing against football, against NFL, and they're still growing, and they're still having the highest views that they've ever had. And yes, Caitlin Clark, she is responsible for what she's done this year, what she's done the past couple of years, just shining a light on women's basketball. And she's done so much, but she's not the only player that people want to see. Clearly, people are watching the finals, record-breaking numbers, Lynx versus Liberty. Go Liberty, by the way. It looks like they're going to clinch that title. But yeah, I mean, Caitlin Clark, she's not facing discrimination. So I think they're covering the WNBA coverage right now is extremely irresponsible. Black women being overlooked, being invalidated for the success and accomplishments that they've achieved in the sport already. It's, yes, be careful what you wish for. I think that was a really great way to put it, because it's like women want to be recognized at WNBA. We've wanted a spotlight on their sport and on their league. But did we really want this? They are truly, I think, WNBA players right now, and a lot of WNBA fans are just ready. Like, they want to throw these fans out in the garbage. They want to trash these fans, even if it means that the league grows slower. So, yeah, we want more. We want more visibility. We want equality, right? We talk about that a lot. All of the takes and analysis surrounding the women's sport does not need to be just about Caitlin Clark. It would be great if we could hear that, Napheesa Collier, that she was the best Lynx player ever, or better than Maya Moore. Maybe that's a bad take, but that's what people want to hear more about. Yeah, will Breanna Stewart ever win another title? Maybe she won't. These are the kinds of takes that people want to hear and want to discuss about women's basketball. We want those conversations. We don't want nonstop Caitlin Clark conversations every single day when she hasn't won anything. So let me be clear. She never won in college, and she came into the WNBA struggling, running away with the turnover record, and swept in the first round. And look, she dragged her team to the playoffs. They haven't been there since she was 14 years old or something like that, Elle mentioned. And huge accomplishment, right? She was able to take a team that hasn't made the playoffs or the postseason very far, right? But she was swept. And we don't know if she's gonna be back in the playoffs next season or in the finals. I predict she'll be in the finals within a year or two. But again, we want to hear more than just Caitlin Clark. We want to hear more than, the women are so angry and jealous. These are the most simplest things that you could say about women and women's sports. And, we want to talk about the women's sport at a high level. These narratives just really need to stop. Caitlin Clark, she's not facing racism. She's not being discriminated against. She has the highest contract in the league. She has some of the most privilege in the league. She got, what did she get? She got private chartered flights for her team, and it was just a domino effect, and other teams started to get it as well. She's accomplished a lot, and it doesn't feel like discrimination is what's happening to her. And I think that's I think it's a disgusting narrative, a false narrative, right? And I think that people, it's almost like they're tone deaf. They don't know. It's almost as if they don't know what real discrimination is. And they don't know the history of basketball and how far, we've come as a sport on the men and the women's side. And Stephen A., he had the nerve to compare Caitlin Clark to Muhammad Ali. Like, are you stupid, Stephen A., or are you dumb? Because how dare you compare what Muhammad Ali went through, one of the greatest players, one of the greatest athletes in any sport that we've ever seen in the history of sports. How dare you compare Caitlin Clark and what's happening to her in the women's league to Muhammad Ali and the struggles and the way that he put the Black community on his back and what he had to fight for on a daily basis, in addition to being the greatest boxer that we've, ever seen, one of the greatest winners in the sport. So I want to play another soundbite from you. From Elle Duncan. She says a lot in this interview with Bomani Jones, and it's a really, really great interview. I think that she's one of the best analysts that we've seen talking about the WNBA. So I'm going to go ahead and play that for you guys.
I've been doing college basketball for 4 years, but this is my first year in the W. And everybody talks about what social media looked like previously in the W, and it was a community. And it was a lot like NBA Twitter, which is, to me, one of the most culturally relevant spaces in social media, right? Like NBA Twitter is fun. And imagine if next year Cooper Flag comes in to the NBA and all of a sudden NBA Twitter is permeated with all these big black goons are trying to attack some sweet, innocent white kid, and how frustrating that would be for the players too. You know, the women of the W react and engage on social media because that's how they reach out to their fans, because that's how they build their brands. That's how they build brand recognition, is by engagement, is by being online and being a presence online. But if you tweet an innocuous picture of you goofing around at, practice or at shoot around, and it becomes 300 messages of, you're a coon and, you need to worship the ground Caitlin walked on, of course you're going to be frustrated. And it's not fair because they have existed in this world for a long time that obviously, like social media, can have vitriol and can have some nonsense and some chicanery, but it's become all of that now to the point where they have completely disengaged. And we're watching women, get rid of their social medias because they just can't take it anymore. And that is the frustrating part, is that they have ruined every safe space. And then you've got people like Christine Brennan, people who
Imagine that. Imagine Cooper Flag comes into the NBA and all of a sudden it's, these big black guys are picking on him. That could very well happen if Cooper Flag was, some sort of perennial talent, but we've seen so much of that in the NBA. NBA is established. They're an established league, and you would think that the WNBA would be more established given the fact that they've been playing for roughly 30 years already. But we're not going to see those kinds of narratives in the NBA now, are we? I highly doubt it. Black athletes have been dominating the NBA, and they're considered, our sports heroes. They've been marketable. The idea that you cannot market a black athlete is still there today. That's why you see the NBA moving towards, these foreign players. They're really trying to break into that market, and they've been obsessed with marketing international players because they believe that black players are just not that marketable. And we see what's even happening with Anthony Edwards. We see some of the bad press being released about him, and it's not, it almost feels like these things are happening because the NBA wants to move in a different direction, and they've decided to market somebody else, like a Luka Doncic. But again, Caitlin Clark is hardly being picked on. She's not some punk. She gives it as much as she gets it. So, I've seen her hit girls right in the face. She doesn't care. She's tough. That's how she got to this league, by being tough. That's what she was able to do in college. We've seen her push girls right down on the floor. She is a tough cookie. She's not some punk out there. She's not being punked by a bunch of black girls in the WNBA. And we need to stop these narratives. She's not facing discrimination. Okay. It's really a ridiculous narrative, and we need to stop this. Elle Duncan, she goes on to express some more, frustration about Caitlin Clark and the way that the WNBA is being covered. I'm going to go ahead and play that soundbite for you as well.
And then you've got people like Christine Brennan, people who I think were former proud journalists who have just devolved into fangirls. And she can sort of say whatever she wants about, like, well, I'm writing a book on Caitlin and like I'm asking the tough questions and this and that. But to watch the fangirling, like, we love sports. I definitely have athletes that I'm fans of, but like, for that to impact how I approach my comments on a game or how I dissect a game or my analysis of a game is just weird to me. And we're watching it happen with all of these journos who aren't journalists anymore. They're fangirls. They're like, it's like weird to me. It's just bizarre. And I know that Caitlin is a once in a generation type of talent because I've been watching her for years since she's been in college. I didn't just get introduced to Caitlin Clark like some of these fans did. And to think that she is some innocent, poor innocent girl getting picked on. She's a tough woman. Okay, she can dish it too. She mixed it up with DeWanna Bonner. She's no pussycat. She got better and better and better and became the best scorer that we've ever seen in college because people tested her. She was tested. She wasn't targeted. Holly Rowe dropped a bar on my show saying that. And it's just, in general, been incredibly frustrating. So it's not so easy for the people that say things like, well, if you don't like what they're saying on social media, just get off social media. That was a safe space for them for many, many years. And it very quickly did not become that way.
I will say.
She nails it again. I mean, Elle Duncan, she nailed it. I mean, Caitlin Clark, she's no pussycat. She gives it as much as she gets it. And the fangirling of journalism and that's happening in journalism right now is disgusting. You have Nancy Lieberman. She's out there caping against all these former WNBA legends, trying to, assert this narrative that everybody's jealous of Caitlin Clark, that people hate her, that there's all this Caitlin Clark hate, when that's not what I see in the media at all. I see them congratulating her and only her. Nancy Lieberman, Christine Brennan, all these women, she's supposedly writing a book about Caitlin Clark, yet she's fawning all over her. She's not talking about any other player. And I get it. She's driving ticket sales. She's driving viewership. I hear that, but there are still other women that are doing the same thing. Sabrina Ionescu, she is the real, the female version of Steph Curry. When we realized that Caitlin Clark couldn't shoot as well as people were saying she could, then she became the John Stockton of the WNBA. Then it's become about her passing. So no matter what she does, they're going to try to assert her as being the best. So she was the best shooter. She was the Steph Curry. Then she wasn't knocking down her shot. She has a horrible 3-point percentage. So because of that, now she's the best passer. Now she's become the best passer in the league when there's still better passers in the league than she is. And I get it. Oh, her stats. She's playing in the point guard position, gouging rebounds, points, and assists. So, when you're in that role and you do not pass the ball until you can get an assist or until you can get a shot off, you're going to wind up leading your team in points, rebounds, and assists. But she's also leading the team in turnovers. So, and I do think she's going to get better. I think she's going to find ways to take better care of the ball. I think that her shooting will improve next season because that is what she's known for. So she's got to improve her shooting if, we want to talk about she's the greatest player. She can't just be known for passing. That's not going to cut it, right? But Caitlin Clark's tough. I don't think she's being discriminated against. So we kind of need to move away from these narratives. It's getting to be a bit much. And I'm going to put the phone lines back up if you guys want to call in and talk to me about this and, and what you've heard. Should she be compared to these players? What do you guys think? I'll read some more comments in the meantime. But, I think, quite frankly, that, Caitlin Clark, yes, she's a phenomenon. Yes, she has accomplished a lot, but when we overhype her, there's going to be people that want to prove that she's not the best. Hey, T-Bert, talk to me nice.
Hey, what's up, Dom? I see you over here cooking as usual, doing your thing. You on fire.
Thank you so much. What do you think about Caitlin Clark being compared to, some of the greatest players that we've ever seen across both men and women's sports?
So I heard you talking about Stephen A. and what he said, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't even hear him say it because, number one, I don't watch ESPN, I don't watch SportsCenter, I don't watch his podcast because they want to brainwash you with their narratives, right? So I don't watch them. What I do is I watch the games and form my own opinions, right?
Right.
And some of those legends that he's referring to, I don't know the text or the manner that he was talking about, real quick. Let me say this real quick. Shout out to Man Down Sports. What's going on? Thanks. I appreciate the shout out.
Yes.
But if he's comparing Caitlin Clark to the legends, the icons from back in the day, the Muhammad Ali, the Michael Jordan, Stephen A is out of his GD mind. It's just that simple, right? But here's what I call it about, right? I'm a real WNBA fan.
I love it.
Blood in, blood out, right? And I hate, and I'm not talking about your show or Mel's show, because I love y'all show and I support the hell out y'all show. So I'm not talking about y'all show. I'm talking about the big media, the ESPN, Sports Center, and everybody else. Why are we talking about Caitlin Clark when there is a phenomenal finals going on? First of all, it was a great playoff. And the finals, this is just epic. We are living in history in the making. And where's the coverage? Not only is this finals one of the greatest finals ever, you are literally watching probably top 10, top 15 players of all time when it's all said and done, going head to head with each other. And I think that they, like all the media, that WNBA is finally getting the light they deserve, but they need to funnel that light in the correct way. They need to be big up in all these girls. It's so many great athletes. And I'm going to tell you what the real debate is, right? Mm-hmm. Here should be the real conversation. Which sport is better to watch? The W or the NBA? And hands down, the WNBA is way better than the NBA. Like, I tell some kids that I coach, if you want to learn how to play real team-oriented basketball in its purest form, watch those women. They do everything technically correct, right? They run plays correct. And then here's the big part. You can't learn how to play defense watching the NBA because there absolutely is none. Watch these ladies play D. They are playing 90s defense. They not ducking no smoke, right? Just because, you great and I'm great, we not going to go against each other and we going to take it easy and buddy it up. These girls are going at it like they hate each other. And I'll give you a quick example. You look at Napheesa Collier and Stewie. They were college teammates. They're friends. Their kids are friends. They are knocking each other on their rear ends and going at it, giving each other dirty looks and everything. They don't care about all that buddy stuff. They are locking each other up as best as they can. Like, this is just great high-level professional basketball. And the NBA needs to change their name. They're not the National Basketball Association. They're the National Basketball of Entertainment. They're on the lines of wrestling now, in my eyes. It's all scripted. It's acting. It's fake. It's buddy behind the scenes. I can't do it. And that should be the real narrative.
T-Bert, you mic drop. Like, I don't even know what to say other than mic drop. You did, like, wow. That was amazing. It's true.
Thanks, Dom.
You nailed it.
Appreciate it.
Like, I don't really have, I have no, I have really no, yeah, I'm speechless. You killed it.
I appreciate it. Now, let me say one last thing about history, right?
Yes.
This is what we missed out. This is what we miss as human beings. You know how, like, when you get older and you say, back 10 years ago, this was the best time I ever had in my life, or this is the funniest thing I ever did 10 years ago. You don't realize you're writing history present in the present, right? So you miss the opportunity. You don't take advantage of the opportunity because you don't realize you're writing and witnessing history in the present. So it's going over your head. And that's what big media, the W and the NBA is doing to the WNBA. We are witnessing history and greatness. But for some reason, I only want to talk about Caitlin Clark. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. So that's all I got to say.
I think you know a lot about what you're talking about, and I want to thank you so much for calling in. You always slay when you call, and I appreciate it. So thank you so much for calling in to Cook. You did it.
Appreciate it. Talk to you. All right. Bye.
All righty. Thanks, T-Bert.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye. While we're waiting for some other call-ins, what we'll do is we'll read some comments. Looks like we have another caller from Ontario. Caller from Ontario, talk to me nice.
Hey, Sportsy, how you doing?
I'm so good. What's your name?
My name's Khalil.
Hi, Khalil. Nice to hear from you. So what do you think about this topic? Caitlin Clark, should she be compared to these other players? Is she being discriminated against?
No, I don't think she should be compared to the legends, but in regards to her being discriminated against, no. I would like to say as a long-time basketball fan, played hoops in high school myself, there's a lot of nuance to this situation. I do feel a lot of the women, the age of Wilson, all of her contemporaries were being overlooked because of all the Caitlin Clark fandom.
Right.
But I will say that one thing I trust me, I'm not a discriminationist fan, but I do agree that they should look at this as an opportunity to educate and shine a light on all the other players. And one thing I will say about the late, great David Stern, he was a brilliant marketer. What Silver is doing with the league, like the other guy just said, it should be the NBA of entertainment. What Silver's done to the league since Stern has passed, it's horrendous. Like I haven't watched I remember watching the WNBA when it first came out. So I was watching back when Rebecca Lobo was playing Witherspoon, Swoop, and then maybe after about 2 or 3 seasons, I kind of tuned out. But I always kept my ear to the game a little bit. But Caitlin Clark coming along has brought a lot of attention to the game, and I really wish, and even in the WNBA, that sports used to be a sacred place where people together. No race, no politics. I just want to tune out from the real world, and I want to watch Warriors, whatever sport they're playing, play the game, play it hard, and compete. And now it just seems like there's so much talking about not what's going on the court. And I just recently, and I'll admit, due to all the Caitlin Clark fandom, I recently said, let me start tuning into these games because the NBA is trash right now. And these women actually play harder than the men. The game is more physical. It's more closer to the basketball that I grew up loving. So I'm gonna keep tuning in. But I do feel like, yes, I'm not gonna deny that. Some rabid fans of Caitlin Clark's may be racist and maybe online trolling, but one thing I think Stern was good at was in the 90s, everybody coming up knew, hey man, it does happen. Everybody knows fans in Utah are racist, fans in Boston are racist and can say some things, but when those guys got up on the podium, they weren't talking about that. They were talking about the game that was played, and the focus remained there. And throughout the 90s, you had great shows that would promote the league and have people understand and know the nuances of the game, and also learn about all the players. Remember, I don't know how old you are now, and I don't want to assume, but there used to be a show called NBA Inside Stuff. I used to watch that every Saturday.
I remember that.
Yeah. And you get to know about, I literally knew every player on every team because they would do a highlight and profile of players every week. And they would even go to guys who were not even starting. And they would tell their come up story, what they like to do in the off season. So you got to know who all these guys were, and I think it would do the WNBA justice right now is to get everybody with all this attention on Caitlin Clark. Let us know who Aja Wilson is. Do profiles on her. Have shows. ESPN should be, every time they're showing sports, there should be a segment on the NBA, and you have people, dedicating at least 10 minutes to covering the games and doing highlights of the nights and, top 10 WNBA plays, all that stuff. Use it as an opportunity to market the rest of the women in the league, and stay away from topic. Obviously, you give trolls attention, and then that's always going to be in the news cycle. So I think just, hey man, the Liberty's playing right now. Focus on that. Give Sabrina Ionescu and the other players on the Lynx team, do profiles on them. Let us know who these women are so we can be invested in who they are and whether they win or lose, at least we know who they are. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate you. And your name was Khalil, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. I really, really great call. You made a lot of great points that, Caitlin Clark, she was supposed to draw more attention to other players. That was the whole point. That's what even ESPN and Stephen A. Smith, these kinds of players, they mentioned. So, but that wasn't true. It was a lie. So thank you so much for calling in, Khalil. I'm going to take this next call. Okay.
All right. Take care.
All righty. You too. Bye-bye. Thank you for calling man down. Talk to me nice.
Boom, don't put all the smoke tonight.
Oh, hey, how's it going? What's your name?
This is Am I Crazy?
Oh, this is Am I Crazy again? Okay, so, all right.
That other caller talking about the WNBA is better than the NBA. He was tripping, man. Stop it. Man.
You think so? I mean, so if
Stop
you're a
it.
basketball purist, the WNBA is going to speak to you. You don't think so?
No, I get what you're saying. Okay, the WNBA is cool. It's cool and all, but I still rather watch the NBA, even though I think it's soft as pudding right now. I still rather watch the NBA than the WNBA.
Why?
I might be.
Why?
I might rather watch.
So if you're not getting a whole
phenoms
game,
go at it.
Okay, but why?
I might rather watch Elijah Arenas play Kion Melo's son or something before I watch some of them WNBA games.
Okay.
But right now, okay, cool.
Do you watch? Are you watching women's college basketball? Do you agree that that's the best basketball out, or you don't agree to that either?
I'm from the old school on college basketball back when Shamika Holesclaw and that. It was different.
I hear you, but I'm asking you, do you agree that women's college basketball is the most popular right now in all of basketball?
I don't really watch the college women's either.
I have to tell you, so am I crazy? I want to tell you you're missing out. Do you know that almost I think it was 24 million people watched women's college basketball? It beat NBA, it beat all of basketball. Just so you know, women's college basketball beat all of basketball, and I mean,
yeah, they were selling us with the beef, and then I was watching a little bit because of the beef, and yeah, it was cool because of the beef. But I'm tired of all the drama talking, and if the W decides to actually promote their good players.
Was there a beef though when Caitlin Clark played UConn? Or when any of the other, so it wasn't just
well, that's
Caitlin
kind of a
Clark.
beef because people think that Paige is better than CC.
Okay,
so,
but
yeah,
when she wasn't playing, so when Caitlin Clark wasn't facing off against anybody, women's college basketball was still beating everybody. So look, I understand what you're saying is that it's the hype surrounding Caitlin Clark and this whole, John Cena thing between her and Angel Reese. Like, I get what you're saying. It's just that the numbers show that women's college basketball beat all of basketball. WNBA is more physical. They're playing the way that, like the previous caller mentioned, the way that, he kind of grew up loving basketball. So for basketball purists, people who really love the game, we want to see all 5 positions on the floor really playing together. We want to see team basketball. We don't want to just see 5-man out, high screen, pick and roll. Like, that's not the only thing that we want to see.
When you say we, are you speaking French? Are you speaking for a lot of people? Are you speaking for certain people? Are you speaking for a main group of people, a code of people? Like, what's going on? Because I'd rather watch the NBA than the WNBA. And that's just a fact. To me,
I'm just speaking for people. I'm just speaking for people who are purists of the game. So basketball purists that call up on this show, they say the same thing. Hey, the women are playing a better brand of basketball right now.
Yes, they probably are playing a better brand of basketball if you want to count like them actually playing basketball like they played in the 80s and the 90s as far as the defensive part. Okay, I give you that. But I'm talking about as far as visually watching the game, I visually rather watch an NBA game.
But what are they doing that makes you rather watch that? Because they're playing like the women.
They are doing things that most men.
But they're not dunking the basketball anymore. It's a 3-point contest and a layup line.
Certain players aren't dunking the basketball no more. That's why I have my favorites that are like what Anthony Edwards is dunking it.
Sometimes.
John Morant, when he gets on the court, he's dunking it.
When he's not playing with guns.
Yeah, that's what I say. When he gets on the court, he's dunking it. So it's certain players that I like to watch that I can't see in the WNBA game because the athleticism and it's just the game just isn't there. But the WNBA, if they actually marketed their sport like they should, then they would have a better product.
So because they're not marketing the sport, you don't want to watch them?
Because they're trying to sell drama. That's all they're doing. Is everything they talk about is drama.
But I thought you said that. But I thought you said that they're playing good basketball.
A few games I've seen, it was cool basketball. But it's a lot of it's a lot of missed layups. Look, come on now. Don't do that. Please, like I don't want to go there. Like I don't.
No, go there. Go there. Say. I'm interested in hearing why you prefer to watch the men when they're not. They're shooting threes. It's a layup line. There's no defense. So how are they playing better basketball than the women?
I get you. I don't like the 3. I'm got a layup. I'm finna go shoot a 3. I don't like that either. But I was watching No Chill Gill the other day.
Okay.
And they even said it on there. Nick Young and Gill was talking about like, oh yeah, come out there. He said the same thing that most men in their head think already. They would rather watch 2 phenoms go at it, 2 high school phenoms like the Boozer twins going against Gilbert Arenas' son or something, than a WNBA game. Man, it's just because you're gonna see something that you ain't seen before at that age, and you're gonna wonder, dang, I wonder how you're gonna be when you get in the league. But when you watch the WNBA, you're watching what it is, and that's what it is. And a few players might get a little bit better, but ain't nobody gonna be coming and doing nothing that you ain't never ever seen before. That's what they can't tell.
Hold on. Have you watched? Who have you watched in the WNBA? Who have you watched?
Who have I watched in the WNBA?
Yeah.
My favorite player to watch is Arike. They need to be promoting her more, and then if they were promoting her, she'd have Kobe of the league.
For? What team does Arike Ogunbowale play for?
She plays for Dallas.
Okay, I'm just checking. I mean, when people tell me that they don't watch, but they know certain players, it's concerning.
No, I know why they're not promoting her. I already know why they're not promoting her. We all know, like, stop it. And it ain't because she's black.
What is the reason? What is the reason they're not promoting her?
Really? You want me to go there?
This is a safe space.
Okay, they're not promoting her because she's not heterosexual.
I didn't know that.
She actually got engaged What was that? She got engaged, was that recently, to her significant other.
And this
But
is a
she's the Kobe
storyline
of the
that
league.
this is a storyline that the WNBA is promoting. How did you find that out? Because I didn't know that.
Because I follow Enrique. That's my favorite WNBA player to watch. I just told you that.
So you have a favorite WNBA player, Enrique.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If they actually promoted the WNBA like they promote the NBA, then the WNBA would have been swords. We already know. What did they do in the beginning? When they started the league, they promoted the USA team coming to the WNBA. But most of them played for Houston, and then Houston went on that 3-4 championship run. Then what they do? They promoted DT, Diana Taurasi, promoted her. Right after that, we already know Diana Taurasi, same issue. Then what they do? Promoted Candace Parker, same issue.
Okay.
Then who did they promote after that? Been a while. They're not gonna promote Britne Griner, nothing like that. Like they try to promote Diggins, Skylar Diggins.
You don't think that they promoted Breonna Stewart or Diana Taurasi or?
No, they did
Stu
promote
Bird?
Diana Taurasi, but Diana Taurasi is 42 years old.
Yeah, but what else is she? With that fan bun on her head, I don't think she's I don't know. I don't think she has a husband.
But I think she's non-heterosexual.
They promoted her, right?
In the beginning, when she was first coming out, yeah.
They also promoted
Then it faded away.
They also promoted Teresa Weatherspoon. So, like, I'm not saying that those things that you mentioned are not any kind of that they have no impact. I'm just saying that the WNBA is playing a great brand of basketball, and you might prefer the NBA, and I can appreciate that, but the brand of basketball is not better. So,
all right, and whose eyes?
In a lot of people's eyes. A lot of people, I mean, so many people are saying that the WNBA is playing better basketball. And you said that earlier. So you're saying you'd rather watch the NBA, but I'm not really hearing why. I'm not hearing a basketball reason as to why. I'm hearing that these women are gay.
Something that I'm
hearing
never
that they're not
see.
being marketed, but I'm not hearing a basketball reason. What have you not seen in men's basketball? Because I've seen everything that they're doing. There's not one dunk.
Yeah,
there's not one dunk that they have not done
far.
already. There's not.
I don't even think there's
They're not even winning.
WNBA game that I've never
But hold
seen.
on, the NBA, they're not even winning three-peats anymore. They're barely repeating. They're barely going back to back and winning back-to-back titles. So we've seen quite a bit in the NBA. I think that
I'm talking about on the court.
You're talking about on the court, but what on the court might you never see?
I'm looking for the next Vince Carter, the next Shaq. I'm looking for
where are they?
Something.
I haven't seen
I'm
Vince
never
Carter
gonna see
yet.
that watching the WNBA.
Why not?
I'm never gonna see somebody. I'm gonna see the next Bill Russell because it's
Why
gonna be like
not?
missing a layup, getting a rebound, missing a layup, getting
Why
a rebound. That's what you see in the WNBA.
Why,
I'm cool, man.
Why not? Why wouldn't you see? Why would you not necessarily see somebody super athletic? We saw Britne Griner. We never thought we would see somebody that tall, somebody that kind of played like Kareem in the women's sport. So anything can happen.
And what do they say about Britne Griner, fam?
What do you mean? What do they say about her?
I say fam because we family, right?
We are.
You know, we talk.
Am I crazy?
Okay,
like
we at the same table. We talking right now. We at the same table. What do they say about Britne Griner? I can't see the chat. I can just talk to you because I'm on the phone.
Oh, you're saying what's the chat saying about Britne Griner?
Not what the chat say. What do people in general say about Britne Griner? Why and that'll tell you why they didn't promote her.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you to tell me what they say. So I've seen a lot about Britne Griner, but she's not the only person in the WNBA, and she's not the only person from the LGBT
But you brought her
community.
up.
I'm bringing up basketball. I'm not bringing up what they say about her. I'm bringing up that we never saw a woman in the WNBA that was almost just as tall as LeBron. So she's the same height as LeBron. I think her feet are just as big. We never saw that. That's all that I'm saying. So you're saying that there's things in the WNBA that you're never going to see. And just so you know, like the way you're even saying her name, that's like that's a dating app. It's Grindr, just an N. It's N-E-R, not Grindr is a dating app. Grindr is her last name.
About how much I watch it. I'm just telling you.
Yes,
the
but you're one person.
I see on her name is what it was. You know, she did she get engaged or get married to, you know?
I don't know because I haven't mentioned any of their personal lives really.
But I'm saying that's why they don't get promoted as much. That's why that's all I'm saying. It's the promotion. You ask why they don't get promoted enough.
I don't think I asked that. I asked you why you prefer to watch the NBA, and I'm not quite hearing a basketball reason for it. That's all that I'm saying. So you agree with me that the WNBA plays a better brand of basketball, but you still prefer to watch the men because you're thinking that you're going to see something. And I just don't know. Okay. I'm just wondering, and I'm not debating you. I'm asking
I'm not trying to debate you, man.
No, I understand. I'm just saying, what is it that you're what do you think that you might see in the men's sport that is preventing you from, let's say, tuning into the women's sport, even though you do watch? So you watch, you're just saying you prefer NBA, which is totally fine. But I'm just wondering,
let me ask
what do you think?
Can I ask the people one question, right? I'm asking the men, okay? Mm-hmm. All right.
Ask away.
This is what we think in our head. I don't want to see anybody out there playing that I feel like I can play just as good as, or I can beat.
Okay. So you think
or I could have beat in my heyday, and I know I wasn't good enough to go to the league, but I think I might be able to beat that person or something. You see what I'm saying? I'm not going to see that in the NBA. I'm not going to see somebody on the court that
you don't think that you can beat Bronny?
That I feel like I can beat.
I think I can beat Bronny James right now. I think I can shoot better. I think I can shoot better than Bronny. I want the Lakers to start me as a point guard.
Shoot better than him or beat him? Shoot or beat?
I think that if I had to play Bronny,
like I can shoot better than, but I don't feel like I can beat.
I think if I had to play Bronny one-on-one with the rules now for one-on-one, that I can beat Bronny.
Come on now, you don't see. That's what I'm saying. Now,
he can't shoot the ball, so if you have to dribble, listen though, am I crazy? One second. So if I have to dribble one time and pull up and shoot, I'm gonna hit that shot before Bronny is.
Oh, Dom! Stop! Look! See, look! I'm not trying to disrespect your skills, okay? I don't know. You might have played college ball. I don't know. You might have played WNBA. I don't know. I don't watch that much to know. You could have been an ex-player. But check it out. Look. Ocho Cinco. Stay with me now. Stay with me. Check it out. You know, that's okay. Now, if I ask you a question, you had to beat Bronny 1-on-1 to 10, and you had to put your every dollar you owned, everything you loved, on it. And you had to win. You'll put it on it? That you can beat Bronny 1-on-1 up to 10?
Everything that I own on beating
everything
Bronny?
Everything you own, everything you love.
Let me tell you.
I'm everything.
Can I tell you I don't gamble? So one thing is I don't gamble. So that's one. And two, anytime you're going up against clutch sports, you have to be prepared to lose. So, you know, I can't bet my life. I can't bet my life on going up against clutch.
Because you know deep down you don't believe you can beat Bronny. Come on now, stop with that.
I do.
That's what I'm saying. You hate him so much. You feel like you can beat him 1-on-1.
I don't hate Bronny. I love Bronny.
Not a person in the world feel like you can beat Bronny 1-on-1. Stop it. Like,
that's okay.
That's what I'm saying. That's where the disrespect comes in.
Can I tell you that
people,
all I need is to believe in myself? Okay? All I need is belief in myself.
But do you really believe that?
And the stroke. Look,
that's why I get into it with Mel. He really believes that D Wade is better than LeBron. I'm like, stop it, man. I'm like, it's just stop it.
I think Dwayne Wade is better than LeBron. So do you. You know he is.
Then you wouldn't have him 33rd on your list.
I don't have him 30.
And have LeBron at 8. It doesn't make sense. That's how I know you don't believe it.
Am I crazy? You know? I do not have Dwayne Wade ranked lower than LeBron. I have him ranked higher. I just understand what I understand. Hold on. One second. I understand why Mel has Dwayne Wade ranked lower than LeBron, but still thinks he's a better player than LeBron. And that's because of LeBron's resume. But I think that Dwayne Wade is responsible for LeBron's legacy. I think that, he had to retire early because he was too busy babysitting LeBron. I think he put his body on the line for him and his team and for LeBron to win and to move forward in his career. I think he made LeBron into the winner that he is today. Without Dwayne Wade, LeBron James would never have a title.
Stop it. See, stop it. He would have got one. I'm just saying, you put D Wade on that Cavs team. You think they go that early Cavs team? What was that 07 or whenever they went to the finals? You think they would have?
I think that early Cavs team was a legit. I think that team was a good team. So I don't think that these players were a bunch of bums like other people try to say. So listen, am I crazy? I hear you. You prefer the NBA. I'm okay with that opinion. A lot of people prefer the NBA.
A lot of people prefer the NBA. So y'all can stop acting like the WNBA. Look, we like what they doing. They sound listening. They walking up, dressed to impress down the stage. They rocking the skims. They doing all that, and then they can hoop. But I'm just saying what men really want to say, but they don't want to say.
I don't know. I just heard a man say that they prefer the WNBA. So I appreciate your opinion.
Oh, okay.
I don't think that you can speak for all men, but it's okay for you to speak for yourself.
I'm not trying to speak for everybody.
But I'm good with that. I'm good with your opinion.
That's
I think
why
you have a great opinion.
Gilbert Arenas no chill Gil part. I'm gonna post that on one of my doggone videos after I get through posting with y'all. I told you I got smoke for y'all all week.
All right, am I crazy? I hear you. You got smoke for us, but somehow you keep getting cooked. But thank you so much for calling in. I really appreciate you. I really do. Okay.
Have a good one.
You too.
Mm.
All right, guys. So we are going to move along to our next topic. Oscar Robinson. So we talked about the discrimination that Caitlin Clark was facing in the WNBA that feels like fake news. I'm calling cap, right? Elle Duncan is calling cap. I know that Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp, let her cook. Expose the person that didn't pick her for unanimous rookie of the year. You guys aren't, like all these narratives that Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp are perpetuating, the whole idea she's being discriminated, the whole comparison of, her to Muhammad Ali and the struggle that she's facing, like Michael Jordan and how she's getting beat up in this league and abused by Black players that are jealous of her because she's a white girl that's coming in and shooting threes and cooking, right? That's what they're saying. So, Oscar Robinson, he was a guy who obviously he played many years ago. Most of us did not see him play in this league. He averaged a triple-double. And he was just such an incredible player and Hall of Famer. He had an interview with the All the Smoke podcast. I love that show. Steven Jackson, he does a great job on that show. Matt Barnes as well. I think that they ask some really great questions, and these legends come on the show and they chop it up with them and they share their stories. And I think it's really important to hear them, to recognize that there's so much that we don't know and we weren't there for that time. And honestly, thank God I wasn't there for that, because I don't know that I would have been able to enjoy sports during the 60s and the 70s, when there was so much racism happening. I just don't know. Maybe it would have been an escape. I'm not sure, but I don't know that I would have the luxury of spectating a sport when there's just so much happening and you're literally just trying to, wake up every day and make sure that you're, not facing some horrible discrimination, or, you can just walk the streets and feel safe. So, like I said, Oscar Robinson, legend in the game. I'm going to play a soundbite for you guys from his interview with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson on All the Smoke.
And then you've got.
I wasn't going to join the Army, but I was told if I didn't join, I was going to be drafted. So I joined the reserves.
What year? I mean, obviously, with you being good friends with Ali, and the years escaping me, obviously he went through that and chose, the latter not to do it. But what was that like as him being a friend of yours and it kind of derailing a little bit of his career?
They didn't want Ali into the military. Ali never even finished high school. I don't know if they give you some tests sometimes when you go to the Army. I don't think he even passed it. They wanted Ali because they wanted him to influence other black kids. See, that's why they wanted Ali in the Army. They want to make him to make sure that all these other black kids that they were going to put in the military, but didn't do the same thing. Because that in the summer times in some parts of the country, I think it was up east where there was potato harvest. Those kids all got out of school to harvest potatoes. That's why you don't go to school in the summer.
Wow.
Yeah, that started on the east, and now but with Ali, no, they didn't really want him in the Army. He had been a disruption in the Army.
Talking too much shit.
I'm too pretty. It just he had too many following in the Army, and what would we accomplish by that? But they want to take him to court to make an example out of it. I never forget Frank Robinson told me once that when you win, they don't like it, but when you lose, they blame you.
It's a no-win situation.
Well, it is to a certain degree, but I think, as I said before, that it's the conversation that we don't. You don't hear a lot of black athletes talk about politics,
right? They're afraid to.
Yeah, they are. I mean, I'm not going to name any names, but some over the years, some of the biggest stars never mentioned. Never mentioned. I don't think they mentioned Obama when he was running.
Remember that Reggie Jackson interview that A-Rod that Reggie get off about them when they were.
Reggie been holding that in for a long time at the baseball game he was at.
I would never want to do it again. I walked into restaurants and they would point at me and said, "Can't eat here." I would go to a hotel and they said, "Can't stay here." We went to Charlie Finley's country club for a welcome home dinner and they pointed me out with the N-word. "He can't come in here." Finley marched the whole team out. Finally, they let me in there. He said, "We're going to go to the diner and eat hamburgers. We'll go where we're wanted." Fortunately, I had a manager, Johnny McNamara, that if I couldn't eat in the place, nobody would eat. We'd get food to travel. If I couldn't stay in a hotel, they'd drive to the next hotel and find a place where I could stay. Had it not been for Raleigh Fingers, Johnny McNamara, Dave Duncan, Joe and Sharon Rudy, I slept on their couch 3-4 nights a week for about a month and a half. Finally, they were threatened that they would burn our apartment complex down unless I got out. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. The year I came here, Bull Connor was the sheriff the year before. And they took minor league baseball out of here because in 1963, the Klan murdered 4 black girls, children, in 11, 12, 14 years old at a church here and never got indicted. They were from the Klan. Life magazine did a story on them like they were being honored. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. At the same time, had it not been for my white friends, had it not been for a white manager and Rudy, Fingers, and Duncan, and Lee Myers, I would have never made it. I was too physically violent. I was ready to physically fight I'd have got killed here because I'd have beat someone's ass, and you'd have saw me in an oak tree somewhere.
Well, they treated Reggie kind of bad in New York.
Yeah.
What was that manager's name? Who was a drunk?
Billy Martin.
This guy was a drunk, man. He shouldn't even been coaching anybody's baseball team. Reggie was a tremendous star, young man, helped him win World Series and whatnot. They treated him like nothing.
Yeah.
When I was at Cincinnati, during the holidays, you're still there to practice, playing games. We had to go up to this restaurant. It was I don't know what kind of restaurant it was, to eat. So I go in with one of the guys on the team, and when I went in the door, the guy said, "Hey, what are you doing in here?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, he said, "I don't want you in my restaurant." I said, "I'm supposed to eat in here." He said, "You're not going to eat in here." So anyway, I left. I go to a place in the black section of town where they had collard greens,
better food than you.
Just what you wanted.
fish and whatnot, and they use the same dipper to get everything out, man. I also happen the coach calls me up, man. What the hell are you doing? I said, what do you mean? He said, you haven't been up to the restaurant to eat. I said, Coach, what are you talking about, man? I said, man, don't want me. They said he want blacks in this place. Years later, this happened. This same guy who ran that restaurant was dying, wanted me to come to see him.
Same guy.
Same guy.
And you went and saw him?
No, I didn't know where he was. I might have gone if I know where he was.
Yeah.
But I mean, it happened, man. You know.
It's crazy. So you leave Cincinnati, the all-time leading scorer for college basketball, until Pistol Pete came around.
Plus, I averaged 15 rebounds a game in my career.
So where did your
numbers?
So I want to talk. Actually, we'll go there. So year one, 30 points, 10 and 9. Year two, 32, 31, 12 and 11. Year 3, 28, 10 and 9. Year 4, 31, 11 and 10. 31, 12 and 9. Year 5. Normally, we used to see kind of one-sided. Where did the all-around game come from, and why did you embrace?
Oscar Robertson, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, they faced racism. They were discriminated against. They had to figure out how to play through that. Imagine playing through racism, discrimination, and winning 11 titles in 13 years. Imagine that. And you're going up against Wilt Chamberlain. It's pretty incredible. The what it takes and the mental toughness that it requires to be a champion, let alone a champion 11 times, when you are fighting for your life and you're fighting for the lives of others and you're fighting for equality and you are marching in the streets for equal rights, and you are a huge civil rights activist and trying to be this huge star in the league. And you are a huge star in the league, and it's frowned upon when you're speaking out and trying to move your community forward. But that's what Bill Russell did. That's what players back then did. Not just for the Black community, but for the league, for the NBA community, for the fraternity that is the NBA. They have made it possible for today's players to have these big contracts, to have respect, to not be considered owned property by ownership. I mean, has anybody heard of the Oscar Robertson law? The law that was put forward so that there could be a free agency? If not for Oscar Robertson, there would be no free agency. In today's NBA, he's responsible for player movement, not LeBron. We have to stop saying this nonsense. It was players like Oscar Robertson that helped to move this league forward. And I'm not saying that LeBron's done nothing, so don't start saying that I hate him and that I'm saying he hasn't done anything. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that we're not showing respect to the previous errors when we say certain things. And they've done so much. They paved the way for today's players to have everything that they have today. I mean, shit, you guys have seen the kind of sneakers that they had to play in. To me, those are the real GOATs. They didn't have the resources. They didn't have the facilities to be the best, but somehow they still were. It's almost as though they were playing barefoot. I can't imagine that. See some comments here. Without the foundation built in the OGs, there would be no NBA. That's true. It would have just went into flames, or it could be an all-white league. Because of Oscar Robertson, there was no more ABA. They were able to dissolve the ABA because the ABA was paying better. So most Black players went to the ABA to play because that's where they were getting contracts for their talent. NBA didn't want to pay. NBA was dirt cheap. They did not want to pay. They felt that they owned these players as property. They have come out and said that. So that's real discrimination. There was a time when NBA commissioners actually just came right out. They were allowed to say that The league is too black. We can't market black players. They used to say those things directly after games. It's players like Oscar Robertson. It's Jackie Robinsons in baseball. It's the Bill Russells, the Wilt Chamberlains, the Kareem Abdul-Jabbars. They paved the way. They made it possible for what we see today. So, yeah, Kevin Brown, speaking fast, the ABA was better than the NBA. It's true. It was they had the best players. Dr. J played in the ABA. He won titles there first. I think he won 2 titles, maybe 3 titles in the ABA before coming to the NBA to win a title. And he was kind of like, I'm not going to say he was past his prime once he joined the NBA, but imagine spending the best years of your career in a league where, you know, you're getting paid more, but those titles are not recognized. You know, people don't even give Dr. J the credit that he deserved. But all of that is really, you know, that's beside the point. That's a whole different conversation. Really, it's that discrimination that's not what's happening to Caitlin Clark. Okay? This is real discrimination. That's what that looks like, what you heard Jackie Robinson talk about. I mean, I'm sorry, not Jackie Robinson, Reggie Jackson, excuse me. When you heard him speak, that was real discrimination. That's real racism. So it's really disappointing when, you know, when we hear people conflate what true disparities are. And Caitlin Clark isn't facing that. Stephen A., he is completely irresponsible by saying that in the first place. Hey, Young, shout out to Young Disciple. Of course, they paved the way. There's no denying that. Yeah, no, there really is no denying that. But I think that when we say things like, you know, Caitlin Clark is compared to Muhammad Ali when he fought not to have to go into the draft as, you know, a world-renowned boxer that was the greatest of all time at that time. You know, so yes, like, I know that you guys are not denying that they've paved the way for today, but they are the ones that face the discrimination. That's not happening in today's league when it comes to Caitlin Clark. She's not being discriminated against. Nobody's bullying her. She's not going through any of the things that Muhammad Ali went through. She's not going through what Jordan went through. They're not grabbing her to the ground, throwing her down to the ground mid-air when she's going up for a layup. That's not happening to her. Yeah, she's been hard fouled. Candace Parker, she faced real brutality in the league because she was a rookie. People hated her and they wanted to beat her down on the court. She had, you know, a true brawl. She had a Malice in the Palace type of situation in Detroit against the Detroit Shock, not Caitlin Clark. There's not a bunch of girls coming to jump her on the floor. That's not happening to her. So we have to stop this. I will throw up the phone number, and if you guys want to call in, you certainly can. You know, otherwise we'll move to the next topic. I'll read some comments in the meantime. Let me see. There's some super chats here, so I want to go through those. From the Wise God, imagine if Maya, Asia, or Diana were allowed to play the offense that CC is in now. Usage rating is like 99. Why did the league force teams to ease up D? Exactly. Coming out of the Olympic break, they had to ease up defense for Caitlin Clark. T-Bert, talk to me nice.
You done your super chat?
I didn't finish the super chats. I think I have one more left to read.
You want to do that first?
Yeah, so Roland Curtis. For fans that hate that we keep going back to Jordan once a better player shows up, then the MJ talks will decrease. But until then, MJ is the topic. The next one. It's not that serious. Serious question. How do you deal with some of these LBJ fans? They can't give cogent arguments about their support of him. honestly, I think that some of them can. I think that some of them can give good arguments. I don't think that they're good enough arguments. So I think that that's the issue. Not one LeBron fan has been able to convince me that LeBron is the GOAT or that he's even top 10. And the stat argument, that's not good enough for me. Let's see, is there another super chat in here? It's not that serious. You're currently my favorite channel that I'm subscribed to. I love most of your takes. Please don't change. You're so talented and real that folks will reach out to you to give you an offer you can't refuse. Thank you so much. It's not that serious. You're awesome. Yeah, so the super chats are done, T-Bert. Talk to me nice.
All right. Shout out to It's Not That Serious. What a comment. That was really, really nice.
So sweet.
All right, let's talk about this Oscar Robertson. I want to put another spin on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Oscar Robertson, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell. Can't forget about Jim Brown, right? Muhammad Ali, Wilt Chamberlain. They paved the way, right?
Right.
So, and this kind of goes back to one of your callers like an hour ago was talking about Wilt Chamberlain and he shot the fadeaway jump shot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at today's sports, like when just normal people like you and I, we go and play basketball, whatever sport we want to go play outside for recreation. Basketball court, playing on a playground, supposed to be a safe space. You had a bad day at work, your husband or your wife got on your nerves, you got fired or whatever it is, you had a death in the family, whatever it is. It's supposed to be a safe space where you can just go and just be free, right? Free from anything, any turbulence that you're experiencing in your life. Imagine a time where it wasn't a safe space, and that was their time. Now, the reason I brought up Wilt, because he said, "Oh, Wilt shot all them the fadeaway," right? So what the league was doing back then to the black athlete was trying to take away their athleticism. And that's why Wilt was shooting 5 foot and 8 foot fadeaways, because they first said you can't dunk, then they said you can't goaltend, you can't do nothing. Then they said, so Wilt just kept changing his game, right? Because of the white media and the white NBA was doing everything to take the athleticism away from the black athletes. And then back in those days, the papers were really relevant and they meant a lot. And Wilt got caught up in reading all the papers and the media, what he couldn't do. He was focused on proving everybody wrong, right? He wanted to fit into their white world of media. So then they said, all you do is score. So then he stopped scoring for a year and led the league in assists. Imagine changing your whole game based on a white perspective. And that's what it was. So they weren't playing basketball freely like the black athletes. They were not in a safe space. They were truly experiencing real racism on and off the court, and they weren't even getting paid much, right? That's real racism. So for Stephen A. Smith saying that Caitlin Clark was going through what these guys are going through was absolutely insane.
Yeah, Stephen S. Smith is just a fool.
For sure. And you know what? And I'm going to tie something else to it. This is the problem with what I have with those Ant-Mans of the world. That disrespect and crap on the people that paved the way. The black athletes that paved the way for you to be a black athlete and make hundreds of millions. Not only were these black athletes from back in the day very talented and very skilled and Hall of Famers, right? They actually fought a war for you. A war against the white narratives, against the white media, against the white society while trying to play a game. Paving the way for you 50 years later to make hundreds of millions. And what do, Ant-Man? You turn around and crap on those dudes' legacies.
We're definitely gonna address Ant-Man. Don't worry, I have all the smoke for him. You already know that. Yeah, I think that when we disrespect our, our elders, essentially, like I wasn't raised that way. I don't even understand
Mm-hmm.
or relate to people being disrespectful to those who have paved the way for them or came before them. I don't understand it. I could never. And I find it to be so disrespectful. And the worst part about it is it's not even like these players today are actually better. They have not been able to achieve the level of greatness that, players of the past have been able to achieve with a lot less resources. And, it's just it really goes to show that when you can't achieve, right? When you can't reach the standard, you have to then shit on the standard.
Absolutely.
And you have to, you have to pretend that standard really isn't as great as it was.
Right. I agree. Everything you said, I'm going to let you go so you can get to the next topic. But I just had to weigh in on that topic and just salute to all the blacks.
Thank you so much.
All the blacks in the past who have paved the way, not only the sports people, the black journalists that paved the way for people like you and Mel to be able to do y'all thing today.
Absolutely.
Right? So
absolutely.
I just wanted to just give a historical take on it. And thank you for taking my call. You have a great show.
Thank you so much, T-Bert. You're awesome.
All right, bye.
All righty, bye-bye. All right, guys. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic, and that's going to be Bronny James. As you guys know, Bronny has received quite a bit of hype. And I think that there's an idea that people are hating on kids, right? He's a 19-year-old kid who's in the NBA, and he's a kid. Kids do not join the NBA. Okay, you have to be an adult to be in the NBA. You can't join as an underage child. And I get it. He's LeBron's child, but he's not a child. So we have to stop saying that people are hating on kids. We know that I think Bronny is, what is he, like 2 for 20 at this point in the preseason games. He's played a total of probably 40 minutes. I think he got on the court last night for about 9 or 10 minutes. He went 1 for 5. So at the end of the game in garbage minutes, he was able to drive in the lane and score a layup. But the other shots were bricks. And prior to that game, he was shooting bricks as well. And even in the last game, I think what was considered like really, really just, oh my gosh, it was just so horrible that, so he goes into the game in the fourth quarter. I think he played a total of 9 minutes yesterday, but what made it bad was that they had Draymond Green guarding him. Draymond Green was doing everything possible to let him score and give him some easy buckets, and Bronny still couldn't hit wide open threes. Draymond gave him the floor to shoot wide open threes, and he could not hit. Okay? Then Steve Kerr, I guess Steve Kerr is a part of this whole nonsense and the circus. He goes ahead and subs in Steph Curry, and they were blowing the Lakers out. What is he coming back in the game at the end of the fourth quarter for? What? All to have like some sort of photo op moment with Bronny. Like, oh, Bronny's guarding Steph Curry. Whoop-de-doo. Like, that was just crazy to me. The Warriors were blowing out the Lakers. It was an embarrassment. By the way, Quincy Olivares, the guy who showed up, Hood Schifino, as well as Bronny James, who both have contracts and have made the team, he didn't get any minutes. And he scored, what did he score? 11 points in like 3 or 4 minutes? He came in and cooked. He outplayed Bronny, outplayed Hood Schifino, outplayed a lot of the bums that have, contracts on the Lakers team. And he had to sit this game. Probably because they're going to cut him, but you're going to cut an actual qualified NBA player for somebody who's not qualified. And so there's a lot of narratives going around about Bronny, and, we just need to give him a year to develop. Can we give him a year? I think that's what DC Slim said on our call last Friday. I mean, he's had years to develop. How much more resources and development does he need? He's had the best of everything. He's had the best resources from his dad. Why isn't he equipped? Why isn't he ready to be in the NBA? Why? And so there's a huge focus on why people in the media are even talking about Bronny being so bad. Oh, why are you focusing on the 55th pick being so bad? Gilbert Arenas, he talks about it on Gil's Arena with his team, and he gets really passionate about the media and analysts trashing Bronny and crashing out on him when he's not playing well. He admits that, but he thinks that it's just no big deal. He's the 55th pick. Why are we focused on him? And he can't seem to understand it. And I want to play this sound bite for you guys so that we can talk about it. But it's just really, it's interesting to me that we can congratulate Bronny, but we can't criticize him. So I'm going to go ahead and play this sound bite for you guys, and then we'll react to it.
So it's not part of this media's narrative. I'm starting to hate these people.
What people get?
The media, like the ones that don't know sports, they're more like reality, right? When you start really talking now, you really understand that. Who was the one they filmed his house, and he's like, I thought this was about my job. That. Yeah. He's like, what does my house have to do with the sport? Same thing with here. It's like you focus so much on how bad you think Bronny's playing when he's the 56th. He's not the number 1 pick in the draft. You don't need to focus on the man so much like he's the number 1 pick or the number 2 pick in the draft. There was a stat that went out that said
about the first 54 picks.
Yeah. He was a minus 40
through the first 3 preseason games.
First 3 preseason games, he ranks last. Cool. Who ranks second to last? That should be a story. That's the number 2 pick in the draft. Unfortunately, he's plays for the Wizards, but that's the number 2 pick in the draft, and that's not a story. You want to focus on the 56th pick, and the number 2 pick is right in front of him. Like, come on. Like, relax. Yeah. Like, it's like I understand that you. That's why I said it's. I consider it immature analysts.
Absolutely.
It's low hanging fruit. It's easy to pick on the fucking 56th pick in the draft, right? Every time he don't get in, oh, he got a DMP. Oh, he got a DMP. He didn't play like he's the 56th pick in the draft.
55th.
55th.
Yeah, but see,
does it matter?
Yeah,
I'm just trying to give him a look.
There's just
what I'm saying is because his daddy's who his daddy is, and you don't like the daddy, it's easy to pick on the son. Come on, don't do that. Throw rocks at the throne. If he's the throne, if he's the king, pick on the king. Stop picking on the guy who's trying to get his career going.
We're not going to allow it though.
I don't like that.
We're not going.
Like I just say, if Bronny was a top 5 pick, have at it.
Yeah.
But he got picked exactly where his talent is right now and where his media exposure should be. Yeah, right? Is the 50th, I mean, if he's the 55th pick, is the 54th pick getting more exposure than him? No, we don't even know who that is.
Is the first?
We don't even know who the 54th pick is.
I don't even know who the first pick was.
Zacco Sachet.
I said no comment.
I forgot who was the first.
We like that you said no comment.
Said no
But it's a great listen.
Said
I
no
just
comment.
told you.
What was the dude's name?
Who? The first pick?
No. The guy.
The second pick.
No. The guy who played well. Start with a Q. What's the
Quincy Oliveri.
That's his name?
Yep. Undrafted.
He's undrafted?
Yep.
What'd he do? Because you run his stats?
Smack Doc Rivers and Darvin Ham in that preseason game against the Bucks.
And what was
he had like 11 points.
11 points in like 3-4 minutes or something?
No, it was 10.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
That's still really good to score 11 points in about 10 minutes. I mean, there are NBA players that score 2 points in 44 minutes, like Draymond Green. So, for Quincy Olivares to come in and basically play for his life, to play for a spot on the team, to not get one, to go undrafted. And I get it. Like, perhaps they played him so that, he could get a chance to land on another team, but why wasn't he given a real opportunity to play for the Lakers? Why is Gilbert Arenas sitting there saying that he was picked that he was drafted at a place that reflected his talent? He was drafted in a place that doesn't reflect his talent because he shouldn't have been drafted. He shouldn't be drafted. He shouldn't be in the G League either. The G League it's a rough place. It's not some cookie cutter league. They really ball in the G League. They play physical. They play hard. They're playing for their lives because they want a contract. They're not coddled. They're not being coddled into the league like Bronny. They're not being handed a 4-year contract. Gilbert Arenas, he's missing the mark on so many different areas. So it's not just that Bronny is in the league. It's not just that, oh, we're focusing on him as a second-round pick. That's not the case at all. We're focusing on Bronny because of the hype that he's received. We were told that he was going to be a great player. We were told that he was better than half of the players in the league right now. That's what LeBron tweeted and said. And so if anybody doesn't remember that tweet, I can go ahead and put that up. But that's what happened. LeBron James said that Bronny was better. And we can't, like, he said that Bronny could suit up for the Lakers right now. That's what LeBron said. Let's see, is this one it? Yeah. Man, Bronny's definitely better than some of these cats I've been watching on League Pass today. Shit, lightweight, hilarious. Really, LeBron? That's not what we're seeing. We're seeing that he's dead last. And Gilbert Arenas wants to talk about the first pick in the draft that's second to last. Nobody's hyping that guy up. Nobody hyped up Zachary Resarche, or however we say his name. Nobody hyped him up. Nobody sat there and said that he was going to be better than most of the players that are already in the league. Nobody said that. LeBron said that. He put a target on Bronny's back. He put that target there. The media helped him put that target there because, you know, he's owning the media, right? He owns the media. It's the La Media. You know, ESPN pretty much is in the pocket of LeBron. They can't figure out if they want to pull back a little bit because they're embarrassing themselves in the integrity of the network. But essentially, Gilbert Arenas is saying, hey, you're only supposed to praise Bronny. We're just supposed to talk about this historical feat of, you know, a father and son duo on the league in the league, which, by the way, is not impressive. It's not impressive when you don't deserve to be there. If Bronny was even halfway qualified to be in the league, we probably would be celebrating. But how can we celebrate something that's not good? How can we celebrate 8 combined turnovers between a father and son on the floor? Bronny got 4 turnovers in a matter of 10 minutes. How is that even possible? And look, I want to congratulate Bronny because he's coming out looking to be more aggressive, looking to shoot the ball more. I think that improved since what we saw from Summer League. But his shooting form is not there. He should not be shooting the ball. And I don't know why we're wasting these minutes on him in preseason games and getting blown off the floor. JJ Redick, he did nothing to try to turn that game around. JJ Redick should be ashamed of himself. I suspect that he's going to lose the locker room. No one can respect a coach that is putting somebody in the game that doesn't deserve to be on the floor, that passes up the person that outplayed that other guy. Bronny's not even just the guy. He's not good. He doesn't belong. He's not just the guy who's on the bench. He's somebody who's genuinely not good at playing the sport. Bronny did an interview with, I think it was Men's Health magazine. And, you know, I don't really know too much about what it was about, but Gilbert Arenas wants us to praise Bronny, but not criticize him. So we're allowed to give him all the hype in the world, but we're not allowed to criticize him. And that doesn't make sense to me. I can't get jiggy with that. Where we're just going to talk about LeBron and Bronny being on the floor together because they're father and son, but the Lakers might miss the playoffs because they don't have qualified NBA players on their team, because they still haven't solved for a center, but they solved for Bronny's roster spot. That doesn't make sense to me. Jeannie Buss and the Lakers, they should be ashamed of themselves. They are a disgrace. They are making a mockery of the NBA. LeBron James and Bronny, this duo, is making a mockery of the NBA. The NBA should be ashamed of itself. You can get involved in block trades like Chris Paul to the Lakers, but you can't get involved and make sure that qualified NBA players are being drafted. Jeannie Buss, you're going to allow this spectacle when you're one of the most winningest franchises in the world, in the history of the sport? Clutch Sports, they must have something on Jeannie Buss. I can't believe that. I just can't believe that Jeannie is fully on board with LeBron doing this. Something had to change. Something changed in the relationship that Jeannie and LeBron have and Clutch has with the Lakers. Something had to change because she went from tweeting negatively about LeBron and Clutch essentially to them sort of battling it out in the press with, negative stories bouncing, all around the media. She even has come out and stated that Michael Jordan is the GOAT, not LeBron. So I wonder, what leverage did Clutch have? Is it the players in the league that they can make it really tough for Jeannie and the Lakers to get players coming into the NBA? How did this happen? How? Bronny does not belong here. He's taking up a spot. And I get it. There's a whole nother league that players can go to, the G League, and they can make something of themselves there. But is that fair? Is that right? When there's only 400, I think it's 490 spots in the league, why should one of those go to Bronny? He's not qualified. Nepotism only works for qualified people. So we can sit here and say, plenty of people do it. There's plenty of kids in there in the front office for teams. So working the front office, I think I didn't play for you I didn't continue to play the Gilbert Arenas soundbite because there's just so many in that one episode of his show. Kenyon Martin even goes on to say that if he had a convenience store, or if somebody has a convenience store, they're not passing it down to him, they're going to give it to their child. Yeah, I get it. But when you run a convenience store or any store, you could have a manager that runs the store. You could have someone that manages the books for you. You can have someone that stocks the shelves for you. You don't actually have to get out there and own the performance of that store. Yes, you own the store, but you don't actually have to necessarily physically own the performance of that store. You don't have to get up and make, and open the store and close the store and make sure that it runs properly. You don't have to be the clerk behind the counter, right? But in basketball, in any sport, in athletic success, when you're talking about athletic accomplishments and performance, you have to physically perform. It requires actual physical talent. It requires success to be earned. So you cannot conflate passing down a business to playing in the NBA. Because guess what? Athletic success, it can't be passed down. You can't inherit that. You cannot inherit athletic success. Those two things don't really go together. So the whole idea that nepotism is something that's been happening and we've seen other players come into the league that, that were sons of former NBA players. Yeah, that's great. We have seen that. But those guys could ball. Even Luke Walton, he didn't average 5 points in college. I think he averaged 10 or more. He wasn't that great in the NBA. No, he wasn't. But he also went on to become a coach. Sometimes those who can't do very well teach. And he wasn't a good coach either, right? But I did think that it was interesting that we keep trying to, create these examples of players that, It's not adding up because it's not analogous. Austin Rivers, that's another example of nepotism. That was nepotism, especially when he went to the Clippers, but he was a lottery pick. He was a qualified NBA player. He was truly a star in high school and college. He was a star in the McDonald's game, but a true star. His father didn't force him on the McDonald's team. They didn't force players to stand back and let him cook. He went and played for Duke. He wasn't just placed on some college team because he was Doc Rivers' son. He was a true lottery pick. He earned his space in the in the NBA. Did he deserve to be there as long as he was? No, because I don't think his play on the court supported, you know, I don't think his play on the court supported him being on the Clippers for as long as he was. He was pretty much on the end of the bench. And I think the last team he might have played for was the Nuggets. So I think that Austin Rivers, he was qualified. So nepotism, sure, but he was qualified. Even when you think about the first real father-son duo, Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. Jr. was better than Sr. Bronny just needs to give us something. He needs to give us something so that we can get off his back. Trust me, I would love nothing more than to talk about Paolo Banchero. But shows like Gil's Arena, shows like First Take, all they want to do is talk about Bronny and Caitlin Clark. So that's what the media is going to discuss. Trust me, I don't want to talk about Bronny on a weekly basis. I really don't. I don't think he should be playing in these preseason games. He should be on the bench. Why is he getting all these minutes? He's not good. Basketball duo first, who cares? Who gives a damn? We've already seen a father-son duo play together that is great. LeBron and Bronny are second. They might be the first basketball duo to do it, but it's terrible. This really isn't for the history books. This is terrible. That tweet was a fact. Am I crazy? You really want to sit here and say that Bronny James is better than half the NBA players playing right now? Seriously? The tweet was a fact, really. Delulu. Well, guys, we're going to take some phone calls. Hey, Funky Town, talk to me nice. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't have you connected. Here you go. How's it going?
Good. How you doing, dear?
I'm so good. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing great. You having an outstanding show tonight.
Thank you so much. I'm having so much fun with you guys. Pretending to be Mel is really fun. Maybe call me, I don't know, Melvina.
No. Let's not do that. I just got a picture of Josephine in my head when you said that. Don't do that. Don't do that. We'll leave it how it is. But no, I just wanted to say, and again, I tried to call in on Friday. Mel was bumping me. The thing about, everybody was talking about nepotism, and here's the thing: there's no excuse for nepotism in sports. It is not an arena where, people get hurt in sports. Like, sports is not, you know what I'm saying? It's not there's no inheritance. You don't get to take your dad's jersey because again, unless you earn that jersey. Most athletic fathers, you're not going to just do anything with my jersey. My jersey's not going to sit there at the end of the bench or go to the G League. You get where I'm coming from? Mm-hmm. Nepotism doesn't work in sports at all. And again, this has not been explained enough, I guess, to certain people. Michael Jordan actually owned a team. He owned an NBA franchise.
Right. And
Neither one of his sons
he didn't
played on
put
that.
any of his sons on that team, right?
None of his nephews, nobody. But you know what he did do? That I disagree. That I think was a problem. He had family in the front office, and all you have to do is look at the production of that front office, what it did.
Right.
I mean, being 100 about this.
Mm-hmm.
How well does that work out? Having family involved in stuff that they're really not. What they really haven't gone through all the different steps, i.e., being a scout, being someone who knows how to manage these type of things, all those different aspects, and then you've got all these competing interests that happen,
mm-hmm.
and then you end up getting people like, to me it seemed like Jordan, when it came to picks and stuff like that, he got locked in on people from the ACC and the East and certain schools. And he figured because they went through this training, the coaching that they received, which is okay, you can kind of get there. But what I'm saying is, just because you were great at one thing doesn't mean you're going to be great at another thing. It doesn't translate. Now the thing with Bronny is, he absolutely is not qualified to be there. On his own steam, there's no way in the world he's supposed to be. When you brought up, I like how you brought up Gilbert Arenas. People may not realize this. He was the number one. He was the first pick of the second round when he was drafted. He missed out on guaranteed money because he was in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And he took it out on everybody. He took it. He's like, all you teams that didn't draft me, all these people you say that were in my position that you took before me, he made it his goal to bust them. Now, again, I can't stand Gilbert Arenas, but I give him that. As far as being an athlete, he was a dog about it. That's how you're supposed to think. You're supposed to have a chip on your shoulder. You're supposed to say, "Hold on, I played at the University of Arizona, won a national championship. Why am I not getting this burn? Why am I not getting this?" And all these accolades. And he was a great player at the U of A. Period. People say what they want to about him. He was, but his attitude and some other things got him in the situation he was in. But again, he took it as fuel. He fueled his tank. The problem with Bronny is he's had everything given to him. He's not had what this is him being talked bad about is like the biggest adversity he's ever faced in his life. And people are worried about him because, bless his heart, he doesn't have the scar tissue built up to be where he's at. He doesn't have what it takes to go through something because he hasn't been through it. He hasn't been through anything. He's never been hungry. He never had to be hungry, right? Could you imagine what would happen to him if he went to Rucker Park? Can you imagine what it would look like? What blood on the dance floor would look like if he went to Rucker Park? Do you know how many middle schoolers and high schoolers in New York, in Harlem, would be there to just feast on him if he dared to show up there?
Shout out to Harlem, by the way. But yeah, he wouldn't be able to handle it. He wouldn't be able to handle it.
It would be so embarrassing because there would be nowhere to hide. We have all these people just sitting there watching. And it's just going to be an evisceration. So again, I'm sick of it as far as this whole comparison. I think, again, I've always said it. It's a joke. It shouldn't happen. It's a travesty. On some of the other things you said, and I absolutely agree with T-Bert and others, the generations are not giving enough credit to what came before them, and they don't have a clear understanding. Like the idea of Stephen A. talking about Ali and Caitlin Clark in the same sentence is so past ridiculous. It's
beyond ridiculous. Like, how do you compare Caitlin Clark to not only Michael Jordan but Muhammad Ali? Really?
Ali, I mean, people don't understand. Ali gave up years of his prime earning and fighting time. Years.
Right. She has the luxury to go and play golf in the off season.
Exactly. I mean, she came in, and again, I'm not hating her. I mean, it's not it's not her.
It's not her. It's the media.
It's the stupidity. It's the stupidity of the people around her.
Right.
It's like, wait a minute. This dude, and like Oscar Robinson said, and Ali said it. He was too stupid to be in. He did not pass the test. He didn't have the IQ. You know, we have a test you take when you go in the military. He didn't have the IQ.
Right.
Like, people don't realize that. That was an actual true statement. He didn't have the IQ for it. Okay, so that being set aside, he was going to be there as a propaganda, and he knew that. And he said no, because he didn't agree with what was going on, and he was willing to stand on principle. You know, Kurt Flood. People don't even know. A lot of people don't even know who Kurt Flood was. Kurt Flood is the reason why there's free agency in all sport right now. A black man played for Chicago clubs. He was the one who went and started and basically was punished. He never saw the fruits of what he created, what he allowed other people to get. But he stood like John the Baptist. He put his butt on the line. He took the arrows. He took the chopping off of his head, so everyone else can feed off. And then you got these people like Anthony Edwards and all those other dumbasses who have absolutely no idea what happened before they got there. They don't know what happened last week, but they don't have a clue of the struggles that these men and women went through for them. You see, and for me, one of the things that I'm so impressed with what you guys are doing, what you're doing, what Man Down and others are doing, is that we need to understand. You know, this stuff didn't happen by accident. Like there were people who put in like real work. You know, the NFL, there were NFL players that people may not even have been born. There were strikes in the NFL in the 70s and in the 80s. They went out on strike. And who led it? I think it was Hayes out of Oakland, a brother, linebacker. He was a PA guy who did that. And now they got these jokers that are giving in. You know, I don't want to get off on all that stuff, but the point I'm making is we've been at the forefront of all these things. We have been the ones who have done the heavy lifting. And it's a shame for our young people to come back. They'll call you the N-word and think it's funny and talk to people all crazy over the phone, on the internet, and whatever, ninjas and all that other crap. But they don't understand there were men and women who stood in the breach so that they can get and live the lives of luxury they're living right now. Like they made sacrifices. And a lot of people, even Shaquille O'Neal didn't. I don't know if you know the story. There was was it Elvin Hayes? It was Elvin Hayes. He met Shaq, and Shaq, he's a center. Shaq didn't know, he didn't know who he was. Well, Elvin Hayes was the guy who went to the Supreme Court so that you didn't have to stay in college for 4 years, so that you could go into the draft. He was the one who did it back in the 60s and 70s. In the 70s, he did this.
Right.
But even Shaquille O'Neal didn't know that. The big Aristotle. He didn't know all that stuff. He was talking to the man, didn't realize, dude, this is the reason why you can leave college early. This guy right here. You think, well, his numbers aren't that impressive. Well, guess what? When you lose out, you lose years because you're in litigation to even get an opportunity to come into the sport. He did that for you. He did that for everybody.
Right. You're so right.
But I think, people don't truly understand. That's the thing that disappoints me about a lot of people that'll, really irritates me to hear people call somebody else the N-word, because you should know what that word means, what it actually means.
Right.
It's calling somebody else nothing is what you're doing. You're taking a fellow human being and you're making them a thing. And to me, it drives me nuts when I see it. I thought we were going to get past that crap, but apparently we haven't. Yeah. But that's part of the reason why they take stuff like this for granted. They think it just happened this way. It just occurred. No, there's a reason why there are people that you're standing on the shoulders of people. The reason why you're where you're at, why you got the view you got right now. You're standing on a mountain of people who did that for you. And again, I'm gonna get off my soapbox because again, you're having a great show, and I really appreciate how in depth you're going into this stuff, and you're getting down into the weeds, and that's important. And hopefully, some people will wake their asses up and understand we gotta come together about some stuff. We gotta come together about some stuff.
Yes, mic drop.
Stop doing the enemy's work for them. When we sit up here and act foolish and stuff like that, they love that.
Yeah. No, I
You know what I'm saying?
thank you so much for calling in, Funky Town. You're awesome. I really appreciate you.
You're welcome. And again, keep doing what you're doing, sister. Keep doing what you're doing.
So much. You have a good night, okay?
All right.
Thanks for
Take
hanging
care.
out with me tonight.
You got it.
All righty.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So I do want to address a couple of comments. Lewis Moultrie, you said some good things here. So he's the 55th pick. Yeah, he's the 55th pick that is being treated like the number one pick, and that's the problem. So when Drake brings you out in the draft and we're televising the second round for you, and the media is hyping Bronny up. So it's not just about his last name. It's not just like, oh, we're hating on Bronny. He was being hyped up as if he were a number one pick. He is being given a 4-year contract. That's an issue. Caller from Illinois, talk to me nice.
Hey, how you doing, Dominique / Melvina?
Aw, hey, who's this? Who's on the line?
Okay, this is Greg Anderson calling in.
Hi, Greg.
And okay, how you doing? I just had a couple of comments.
Absolutely.
Okay, so you know what Bronny's biggest issue is in the NBA?
Besides the fact that he can't shoot?
Well, not just that's probably number one, but number two is he plays just like his daddy. It's just the fact that he's not 6'8", 260 pounds.
Right.
He plays just like LeBron.
Exactly.
So that's I think that's one of the biggest issues. And I don't people keep saying, well, he's the 55th pick. He's the 55th pick. He should have been the 155th pick. Unfortunately, there's only like 70 roster spots, 60-some roster spots.
Right.
He should have been the 155th pick. So we can't continue to say he's the 55th pick, give him time and all of this stuff or whatever. If you step on that court, you got a guaranteed contract. You have a right to be criticized. And I even hate the way that the media is even Stephen A. Smith. He was talking about LeBron deserves this and he deserves this. But Stephen A. Smith is in the middle of a contract negotiation, and he knows good and well if the owners at ESPN was to put somebody else, put one of their sons as the face of First Take, he'd have a hissy fit. And he wouldn't be talking the same shit he's talking now.
I agree. I mean,
okay, but
yeah,
but with that being said, I remember when Dwayne Wade's son was coming out for, I think he got drafted in like the G League draft or whatever. Nobody had a problem criticizing him, and when they criticized his game, it wasn't like, oh, y'all some haters or he needs time to develop, give him an extra year. Why is it all of a sudden everybody got to bite their tongue when it comes down to LeBron's son? You can't even say what you see. All we saying is, as of right now, the boy is ass. Now, if he improves, okay, we'll reassess his game. But as of right now, he's not playing ball well, and that don't make you a hater.
Right.
I'm about to jump off. I'm enjoying the show, enjoying your commentary. I'm about to start game banging back in the comment section. I'll take your comments off there.
Thank you so much, Greg Anderson. You're the best.
Yeah.
Thanks for calling. Alrighty. So Bronny hasn't been a standout player at any level. The same people saying the truth is hate and saying we hate black men shining are the same people calling Westbrook Westbrick. Okay, that's a really interesting comment. Bronny, he wasn't good in high school, he wasn't good in college, and he's not good as a pro. So, that's where I'm at. Sneed. Shout out to you, Sneed. I see you. He shouldn't have been picked. He isn't an NBA talent. He's not an NBA talent. We know that he's not an NBA talent. Sneed coming through with the comments tonight. Watch the footage. He is so bad. Instinctually, he is out of place. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Sneed. When I look at Bronny, I see him, he has like a blank stare. It's like the way he picks up his dribble. It's like a cardinal sin. You don't pick up your dribble when you don't have anywhere to go. He constantly does it. That's what really leads to his turnovers. His decision making is not there. Bronny doesn't even know where to stand or how to move. Forget shooting, passing, and defending. It's true. He's like a fish out of water. He's like a deer in headlights. It's just not good. He doesn't belong on the floor. Dickie Simpkins was an NBA talent, but he got in. Look up Dickie Simpkins and what did he do in high school and college? Let's see. I'll look him up. If anybody can tell me about Dickie Simpkins. Dickie Simpkins. I just want to see if he was as bad as Bronny. Nope. So he averaged 10 points in college. So he had double the production of Bronny. So let's try again. Try again, bearded conversation. I need a comparable NBA player who sucked in high school and college and also the pros and was given a 4-year contract. So that's what we have to line up to make it fit. So you need to find me a player that had a 4-year contract that was just as bad as Bronny. Caller from Minnesota, talk to me nice.
Yes, good night. Caller from Minnesota, but I'm really a Jamaican, but I'm a big basketball fan.
What's your name, sir?
Niche.
Niche?
Yeah.
Nice to hear from you.
I'm enjoying the show here. Nice show.
Thank you so much. So what do you think about Bronny? Like, do you think that people are just making excuses for his poor play? Do you think he does deserve a spot in the league? What do you think?
All right.
Is the criticism deserved?
As a player, not any league, but as somebody who played the sport.
Yeah.
He's a decent player, but not fit enough for the league. No, he's really not. And I mean, if you look at even the preseason games, when he should be cutting his standing, you know what I mean? And my main point tonight is Gilbert Arenas said he's the 55th pick, and nothing is expected of him. Why would you pay a 55th pick $9 million guaranteed if nothing is expected from him? And why is he playing if nothing is expected from him?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. Like, if there's no expectation, like Gilbert Arenas keeps saying that, what expectation? He should not have any expectation as a second round. That's fine. That would be great if he wasn't hyped up as a first round pick. So if he wasn't hyped as
LeBron tweeted, he's the one who slapped all that honey on him. So what's wrong now? The answer to him.
Exactly. So it seems that we're only allowed to congratulate Bronny. We're only allowed to praise him. We're only allowed to hype him up. We're not allowed to criticize him. That's what everybody is saying.
Stephen A. went on Kwame Brown as a 19 years old. He lived on him. He made a career off Kwame Brown as a 19-year-old. He was a kid too if Bronny is a kid.
Yeah.
He deserves every criticism he's getting. He's over how many shots he's taken at the 3-point line. That's ridiculous. Anyway, thanks for your show. I just wanted to make my little point.
Thank you so much. You really made a great point. So, and I love your accent. So you're from Jamaica?
Thank you. Yes, originally. It's my first time calling. I always watch the show because I come in from work late.
Well,
so
please keep calling in. Please keep calling in, Niche. I'm going to save your number. I really appreciate your call. We want to hear your voice.
I want to go on the members thing because I subscribe, but I also want to be a member so I can get like some private stuff. Because, like,
Absolutely.
this is like
Please
my
join and
first
be a member.
calling on the B show, and I'm torn up inside. Like, people say all these crazy things, especially Gilbert Arena. If I ever catch him as a little local Jamaican, I'll tear him apart with those nonsense he's talking. And I think John Sally tricked him, tell him he's a winner. He ain't no winner. He was a decent player, but he ain't no winner. What does he win? There ain't nothing in the cabinet
Exactly.
for him to be coming out here disrespecting all these men. Oscar Robinson, they have no talent. Like, they were not skilled. Like,
Right.
what did your skill only make you Gilbert Arena? They were stars in their era.
Exactly.
In your era, you will not be stars. So shut up.
Exactly. Isn't that kind of
Let's
crazy that when you can't beat the competition in front of you, the go-to is to talk about players that you never faced?
And you know what's embarrassing again? It's the sport you play, and some of these gentlemen are alive. And it's funny how even dumbass JJ Redick would say they were plumbers. These guys didn't have the proper footwear. They had to go to work. They had to fight for a contract. They weren't paying well, and they were stars. You get
Right.
all the luxury. You get all the PlayStation, the whatever you call it, the big contract, and you were just JJ Redick. It burns me to the core.
Yes. He had everything that he needed, all to just be JJ Redick,
And
somebody who never
you
won
weren't even a
anything.
decent role player. He wasn't even a decent role player.
Not even.
Well, I'm waiting for the season to start. I can't wait because I see some madness already. I ain't saying
Yeah,
nothing as
I
yet. And I'm gonna
can't wait to cook JJ Redick because I can already tell that his coaching is not where it needs to be in the preseason. He hasn't made a decision that I agreed with yet.
But that's
So
why it's really the lake show. Because how could they pass a qualified person like a Sam Cassell who has proven himself as an assistant?
yeah,
To
but
go
that's
to JJ Redick, who was
LeBron.
only coached 4-year-old girl.
LeBron didn't help, a black coach. Whatever happened to Phil Handy? Why hasn't LeBron gotten him a
As
head
you call
coaching
his name,
position?
as you call his name, I thought LeBron makes people around him better.
That's the narrative, right? That's what the
So
media
why
puts
is
out there.
Bronny doing better?
Can't figure it out. They
He
play on the
wasn't.
same team. You would think that his son would be better, right? You would think that he would have developed his son the way that Gilbert Arenas developed his son, or the way that Carmelo Anthony developed his child, or the way that Ron
Let
Harper
me give you
developed his son. So
exactly.
we
Let
don't
me
see
give
any
you
of that.
a piece of my personal narrative.
Hmm.
If he is the GOAT, he's the greatest player, right? Why would he send Bronny to work out with Gilbert Arena? He should have all the tools to give Bronny.
Exactly.
So
But I
once he
guess he
did that,
couldn't be bothered. He was taking a nap, or, he was preparing
that's
for
why
his
I take
28th
my hat off
season.
to Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo, like, what am I doing? It's best if I just retire and focus on my son to get him to where he needs to go.
Yeah,
Because they would never give Carmelo the chance to get a ring.
it's a fact. Great call, Niche.
What's
I
your,
really appreciate
what's
you.
your name again?
My name's Dominique.
Okay, Dominque, it was a pleasure speaking with you. And keep up the good work, and I'm going to keep watching the show. And I'll probably be commenting as well because I'm enjoying it.
Thank you so much. We all really enjoyed your call. I know I did. Please keep calling in. Really, really appreciated hearing from you. But thank you so much, Niche. Have a wonderful
All right.
night.
I changed the last word. I stopped saying appreciate it. Appreciate love.
Aw, thank you so much.
All right. Have a good one.
Alrighty, you too. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Hey, T-Bert, talk to me nice, buddy.
Hey, what's up, Dom? That was a good call. So
so
between you and your callers on this topic, y'all didn't leave too much food on the plate. I'm gonna try to eat though. All right, I'm gonna try to eat just a little
Come on,
bit.
chef it up for me.
All right, I got you covered. All right, to some of the people in the comments that's defending the Bronny James. All right, cool. This is a safe place. Nobody's gonna call you names, and we appreciate all your opinions. In my opinion, it's impossible to defend the indefensible. Like, I tried to give Bronny some grace, but I just can't. I just cannot.
I know.
So let's address a couple of these comments that you covered. Gilbert Arenas. Gilbert, quote unquote, said he got picked right where he was supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
That's factually incorrect.
Bullshit.
He was not supposed to get picked 55th. He was not supposed to get picked 555th. He was not supposed to be drafted at all. Next thing. Gilbert keeps saying, and somebody in your comment section said, oh, 55th pick. Y'all are really underestimating what the value of a 55th or 60th pick. There's only 60 picks in a draft. There are literally tens and tens of thousands of people trying to get one of those 60 spots.
Right.
You have college kids trying to get, one of those draft spots. You got all the overseas players all around the world. So you might have 60,000 people competing for 60 spots. That spot is worth millions upon millions upon millions, especially to a broke person that has nothing. So please stop saying, oh, it's just a 55th pick. That's nothing. No, that is one of the highly coveted places, number spots in the draft, 1 through 60. So please, if you get picked 60th, it's worth millions upon millions. You hit the lottery, basically. So stop trying to sell the narrative that the 55th pick has no expectations, right? And if you do get drafted 1 through 60, it's showing you have the potential to be one of the best players on the planet. This is one of the hardest jobs to get, supposedly, is an NBA job. Because there's only 450 spots and probably 1 billion people on the planet, please. Okay? So we need to stop with this narrative. The next thing, people say, Gilbert says, why is everybody focused on the 55th pick? What about the 56th? What about the 60th? Nobody knows that. Well, there's one reason why we are focusing on him. Because before Bronny came into the league, his dad put a bullseye on his back with that dumb behind tweet. His dad put us on to Bronny. His dad put the target on his back. So, okay, here's LeBron, phony goat to some, goat to others. He says his son is better than half the dudes in this league right now, and he's in college or whatever. So now the whole world is going to watch him. That's why he's being talked about. So let's stop saying, why are we covering him? Why are we covering him? We're covering him because LeBron James said that this kid at the time, he was a kid. Think about it. He was a kid at the time, is better than these grown men, a lot of these players in the NBA. That's why he's getting so much coverage. And now, let's pile on. So now you got that spotlight on you, and you're absolutely, here's his numbers. Preseason, 5 games, 2 for 16 out of 2-pointers, 2 for 16. 3-pointers, 0 for 7. All 5 games, he has a plus minus of a negative 40. He's the worst player in the league. But the GOAT or phony GOAT said this kid was better than everybody. So LeBron is feeding us these topics and these narratives and why we're talking about him. If LeBron would have just said, you know what, my son's going to try out for the league. He's struggling a little bit in college, but we'll see how he makes out. Bronny wouldn't get no coverage now. But the fact that you put him out there like he's the next coming of Messiah, that's why he's getting all the attention. And last thing, Draymond. Draymond did everything but just get off the court.
I know.
I saw this one play. Draymond watched him get the ball, backed up like 8 feet. Draymond, he plays tougher than
it was a disgrace. He calls himself the greatest defender ever, right? Didn't look like it.
He's giving him a shot. And Bronny cannot walk it down. And remember the last call I said, the NBA should now be called the NBA, National Basketball Entertainment. Here's the entertainment that you talk about, and everybody in the chat, we should be saying NBA now. Here's a prime example of the NBA, National Basketball Entertainment.
T-Bird, I have a question for you. Are you open to a 3-way call with Am I Crazy? He's saying that he wants to cook you.
I'm gonna take you a Mel stance on this. I don't debate. I just spit facts. Now, if you want to get cooked, you know what I mean, I'll cook you. But I don't really do all the debating because I consider myself. I look at basketball in its purest form, and I'll compliment where it's due and criticize where it's due. But I'm not going to get in a debate with somebody who just has, you know, an opinion that disagrees with me. So the champ will respectfully decline. I'm not doing all that debating. But let me get back to what I was saying.
Honestly, I think Am I Crazy is cooked already. So we're good.
Oh, absolutely. So look, Curry gets back in the game, right? He gets back in the game. First of all, vets don't like to play in the preseason. He gets back in the game. What if Curry gets hurt and he's out for the season? Curry has a history of ankle issues. What if he gets hurt and gets back and, you know, because he goes back in the game? The reason he put him back in the game for the photo opportunities. You know what I mean? That's going to be that card. That's going to be Bronny James rookie card, right? It's going to have him defending Steph Curry, and that card is going to be worth a lot of money. That's what that was. It was strictly entertainment and business driven.
I agree, but it's a disgrace. You know what I mean? It's a mockery of the NBA for sure.
Yeah. So. Now, let me ask you, back to that debate. Now, if you want me to indulge, I'll indulge.
No, honestly, I was just asking. For me, I'm fine to end the show really with your call. It was such a great call. You cooked. You know, Am I Crazy? He was just beeping in so many times, and we've heard from him quite a bit. So,
yeah. Am I? Let me say something. Am I crazy? Real quick. Am I crazy? Appreciate all you chat, you call in, you support the show. Your opinions might vary or differ from mine, but I don't got nothing but respect from everybody in the chat and everybody who has the same opinion or opposite opinion. Once again, in the words of Sports T Dom, this is a safe place. So I don't have no beef with nobody.
I love it. Honestly, like, this really is just a great space to talk about sports, and I've been loving the engagement in the chat. I really appreciate everybody. Thank you so much for calling in, T-Bert. You're awesome. You're the best. Thanks for supporting Man Down tonight.
Talk to you. Yeah, no problem. Talk to y'all later. Shout out to the chat. I see you, Eddie. I appreciate it. All right, chat. And Dom, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak. Talk to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
All right.
Alrighty, guys. So we're pretty much at the end. This was such a great show. I can't believe 3 hours has just flown by the way that it did. Really great group tonight, great audience. And, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know that I'm not Mel, but, I had so much fun with you guys tonight. So just remember, do me a favor. Like the video. We had about 200 people in here tonight, so I hope we've got over 200 likes. So, make it happen. Like the video for me. If you're not subscribed to Man Down Sports, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And my name's Dominique. Tonight I was Melvina, but you guys can also catch me on Sports T, and I'll be on the panel on Friday, every Friday at 4:30 p.m. So yeah, check me out on Sports T as well as Man Down Sports. And thank you so much. Please, continue to rock with us. We'll be back on Friday. And thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight. Bye-bye.